Well, her name's Rock Chalk. She's the talk of the town. We're the German Shepherd duo, always sniffing around. Smith and Wesson by her side, they ain't just for show. They're the muscle when she's hustling, solving crime on the go. She's got her boots in the dirt, she's cracking the case. A true crime queen with a smirk on her face. Loves her country rap bumping, got that twang and that beat. You mess around with her, you're in for a treat. Oh, F-A-F-O, better watch your step. Rock Chalk's on the scene, she'll clean up your mess. With her dogs and her charm, she'll track you down slow. Oh, F-A-F-O, yeah, you reap what you sow. She's got a badge and a sassy attitude to boot. Kicks down doors like she's in hot pursuit. Smith and Wesson bark, don't you dare run. She's the queen of the scene, yeah, she gets it done. Country rap on the radio, she's cruising the street. From the city to the sticks, she's the one to meet. Her motto's real simple, don't try no bluff. Mess around all you want, but you'll find out quick enough. Whoa, F-A-F-O, better watch your step. Rock Chalk's on the scene, she'll clean up your mess. With her dogs and her charm, she'll track you down slow. Oh, F-A-F-O, yeah, you reap what you sow. She's got cowboy boots and a badge of steel. With a heart of gold and nerves unreal. You thought you could hide, but she's always in the know. Now you're caught, son, F-A-F-O. So here's the Rock Chalk and her Shepherd crew. Smith and Wesson got her back and they're coming for you. Country rap in her veins, she's the queen of the scene. F-A-F-O is her motto, and she's living the dream. Rock Chalk out. Hey! She's got cowboy boots and a badge of steel. With a heart of gold and nerves unreal. You thought you could hide, but she's always in the know. Now you're caught, son, F-A-F-O. So here's the Rock Chalk and her Shepherd crew. Smith and Wesson got her back and they're coming for you. Country rap in her veins, she's the queen of the scene. F-A-F-O is her motto, she's living the dream. Rock Chalk out.
Hello to everybody. I'm so glad to see everybody here. This is not going to be your normal that I'll do, but I'm going to address this. Hey, Jason. Hey, Robin. Hey, Hawkeyes. Let's see who else we got in here. I did tag Joe Schmoe. So if he's listening, I'll drop the link for him. This link is going to be for Joe Schmoe if he is listening. So, okay, I'm just going to get to it because I'm irritated and I'm tired of it. So a friend of mine, that's right, nobody's special, Christopher. A friend of mine had told me, let's start here. I think everybody that can should cover the Kansas Moms case. I think everybody that can should cover the Stillwater case. And I felt the same way about London Valdez. I think everybody that could cover it, get it out there. I always said I was never going to talk about the conversation that I had with London's mom, and I will not ever repeat that. But same thing I told her. She said, some people don't get stories right. And she was nice to me when I talked to her. And I asked her a lot of questions. And I said, you want people talking about it, especially in the Panhandle. Just let them talk because you want it to get out there. Well, anyway, this person, this friend of mine had said, hey, this Joe Schmoe is covering the London Valdez case. You got to go check it out. So he went live and I went and checked it out. And what he did is bash Rock Chalk. And I didn't say anything. I just kept my mouth shut because I just wasn't going to go there. But now I'm going to go there because now I'm pissed. Now I'm done with the bullshit. We're going to talk about it. So I'm going to start here. He was on this lady's panel about London Valdez. Let me give you a back history. I don't watch the hate channels, but with the Lauren Matthews thing and the Joe Schmoe shit, Joe got his ass in some deep shit, and he knows it, so he won't even go live now. Okay, and the live he did do, he got ate up so bad that he erased that live. Okay, and so he hasn't even went live to cover the London Valdez case because he's got himself in some deep shit. Okay, but look, you'll catch on. Let's go. Oh, I'm going to stop it like every, 30 seconds, because I don't want to get striked over this, but I am going to get my point out on what I think. So anyway, she's asking him about the London Valdez case. Here we go.
Tell me how you got involved into this case while I start getting ready for our screen thingy.
Sure.
And one thing, watching this guy, Joe, when you close your eyes, you're lying. Okay? When you close your eyes, you're lying, and you're always closing your eyes. I don't know what your deal is, but you need to get your shit together. And you don't talk about people. You don't even know me. And your first live, you talked about me. Let's go.
Sure. So it was after I covered the trials in Phoenix, driving back to the Midwest, going up US 54, and I'm usually a point A to point B kind of guy, and I don't stop and do touristy kind of things, but this, I just happened to stop in Hooker,
And you know what? He happens to stop in Hooker, Oklahoma. Yeah. I'm going to speed him up a little bit.
Oklahoma.
His mouth moving, he lied over and over. That's right.
Didn't
That's
see
good.
like any, and this was, so it was about a week after her, after she had been found. So 2 weeks after she went missing.
A620.
I didn't see any missing posters. I didn't go in the gas station, which there may have been missing posters up
Go
there
back
still,
at you,
maybe
buddy.
not, because she'd been found. And it just, I got to my hotel room that night and I Googled true crime in Hooker, Oklahoma, and her case was 16-year-old London Valdez missing. And then
I'm going to tell you this too. Lavender made me aware that the paperwork is filed from yesterday's court hearing, and I'm going to do a live tonight, but I'll go over a little bit of it here in just a second. But I will do a live tonight on it for everybody.
she hadn't been identified yet, but she was missing. But then, like you said, her mother did post on social media that it was her. And then they had the funeral, and so on the missing poster was mom and grandma's phone numbers, and I reached out to them. Not knowing at the time that they hadn't had the funeral or memorial service yet. So it took a couple weeks after that. I did a live covering the story on the day of her funeral. I thought her mom was going to air the funeral on Facebook. She decided not to. She opted not to. So it was just my live. And then eventually grandma started texting with me, and then eventually mom did too. And then mom agreed to come on and has come on for 2 interviews. And then a couple of weeks ago, I drove back. It's 14, 15 hours one way each way. And we met out at the spot and we drove the dirt roads where a lot of the story happened on the 12th. And I drove through. I completed my trip by driving to Hooker.
Right.
I drove through, caught some footage of
Right.
that
We always
too.
want the truth.
And we took some footage out at London Spot outside of Forgan, Oklahoma. And it's taken me a little longer to edit it so I can air it, but I'm really close. I got to do one more thing to prepare it, and so hopefully,
Jane, I'm
in
so
the next
glad
couple
you're
of
here.
days, I can air that footage because it's mom and Aunt Rochelle talking about it out there at the road, and then they took me on a driving tour. I drove behind them down the road where the truck got stuck, and they got out of the truck and they went different ways. So about 3/4 of a mile where she was eventually found 5 days later. So we drove those roads. We checked it out, close in detail. We visited her memorial that's there where she was found.
Now, let me say, I'm really glad that he's covering
Yeah.
the London Valdez.
So I still have some work to do on that part of it, but obviously the big news is
I don't think you'll recover either from his drama.
you want to say, might as well say it. An arrest was made Friday.
Okay, Joe, hold on.
Yep. That's why I feel bad that I haven't done it yet.
Wait
That's-
a minute. Why haven't you done it, Joe? because you did sworn affidavits for somebody that was trying to charge a bunch of people, saying they were stalking her and shit. You got your ass in a ringer. You're scared to go live. You went live and they chewed you up. You got to learn not to open your mouth and talk about other people and get involved in shit that don't belong to you, that you shouldn't even get involved with. Like making the comments about me when you first started this London Valdez case. Like, I don't know who the hell you are. Who you don't know me to talk about me.
Using
I'll
that
show
term
it
very
again.
loosely. Using that term very loosely.
Yep. What we're going to do is,
So can I correct it?
Joe is the guy in the hat, but they talk about, we'll get to it. Hopefully I'm at the right part. But he says nobody was covering this. And then this lady goes, oh, with her 3,000 subs. Oh, well, it's over the pond now. The pond hasn't seen it yet. It's over the pond now. We got Jane in here, UK. We had Bianca in here from Australia that was during this case. Oh, these people.
A couple of things that you read on your blurb at the beginning.
yes, and let me preface that. That is what is made public. That is what is found publicly. One of the reasons I wanted Joe was because I wanted him to make the corrections. So what I've done is I've made these bullet points with the help of Joe, and we're going to walk through and make those corrections. So what did you want to correct before we go to June 5th?
That her case caught the attention of people in Oklahoma and Kansas. Nobody was covering this case.
Whoa, right there, Joe. Nobody was covering this case, guys. You guys are nobody. We wasn't covering this case because nobody was covering this case, according to Joe. Okay, I'm gonna let him sink his ship right here.
No.
And definitely not the world.
Well, no, I put the world in because we're going to do
And
is
he knew I was covering the case because the same person that sent me to his channel to see the London Valdez case also told him about me covering it and us covering it over here. Also told him about God's Misfits because that person also knows that I want everybody to cover it. You can use my shit. I don't care. I will never strike you. My shit ain't that good. Listen, I'm not a pro at this. I just get on here and let everybody be aware of everything. I've never said I was a pro at this at all. I'm not taking his shit. He's lucky I was in his chat when he was talking shit about me. And I just didn't say anything because my friend watched him. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do this. My friend sent me here and I'm just not going to do it. That wouldn't be nice. And I kept my mouth shut. And I don't ever keep my mouth shut. You guys know I don't keep my mouth shut. Ever. Okay, here we go. Then I'm going to show you the proof.
So can I correct a couple of things that you read on your blurb at the beginning?
yes, and let me preface that. That is what is made public. That is what is found publicly. One of the reasons I wanted Joe was because I wanted him to make the corrections. So what I've done is I've made these bullet points with the help of Joe, and we're going to walk through and make those corrections. So what did you want to correct before we go to June 5th?
That her case caught the attention of people in Oklahoma and Kansas. Nobody was covering this case.
No.
And definitely not the world.
Well, no, I put the world in because you and we and all of us are getting out there, and we now have people who are watching from Sweden and Europe and UK.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're watching right now. We've got people across the pond who are now.
Stop it right there. Hold on. I'm going to show you a couple things. As a long nose, just saying, yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, you guys will see right here. London Valdez, 16, found deceased near Hooker, Oklahoma. See that date? June 16th, 2025. Remember that date. June 16th, 2025. Now, I did an earlier one, and I was talking about the video, and it seemed to bother the mom. I noticed the cut marks that London was a cutter. And I noticed the cut marks from the video that she had put on her Facebook. And I had said something in the video. This girl looks like she's got cut marks. Was she getting help? I wasn't saying it bad, but her mom, it bothered her mom so bad that her mom took that video down of the cut marks. So I deleted it. So I was even live about this before this one here. And I didn't even save it. I deleted the whole thing because it bothered the mom that I caught that there was cut marks. And listen, I didn't want to bother her. Okay. Now, so you see that we covered it June 16th. All right. Okay, here's Joe. Okay, June 28th, 2 weeks later, June 28th. Hey, Wellington, it's good to see you. I love the koala bear. So you see here that Joe Schmoe didn't start covering it to June 28th, but the Rock Chalk family, we covered it even before June 16th. Okay, now I'm going to back out. Like I said, you'll see it June 28th. We're going to go to his page. Go to lives here. Again, he's got himself in some deep doo-doo. You see that he's not been live. And there's been somebody arrested in the London Valdez case. Let me tell you what. I could have all the haters in the world. And if you're in the back and you're a hater and you're watching, I don't care if you're here. And don't ever think you're going to keep me from going live. Okay? Ever. Because the minute I know that you're coming after me, I'm going to be the first one live. I'm a stand-up. Bring it. Come 10 toes down. Be ready. I've always got my 10 toes down. Okay. 2 months ago, London Valdez. We'll just keep going. Again, I think it's great that he covers it. I want everybody to cover it. Here's the one that I just showed you. I'll show you again just because we're here. I'll show you that this is the one. This is the one from June 28th. Okay? No more. Do you see any more for London Valdez? No more London Valdez. So that's a lie. That's a lie, Joe. It's a downright fucking lie. So not only did you talk shit about me in your live with the London Valdez, he was not the first one to cover it, and he wasn't the only one to cover it. Now, some people will just put up with your shit. I'm not putting up with your shit. Again, I was in your chat. I was in your chat when you was talking shit about me. And I didn't like it. But I didn't say anything. It's your channel. But you're going to other channels and trying to act like you're somebody big and you're the only one that covered it. I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with it. And honestly, I have a problem with people talking shit about people they don't even know. You didn't even know me. Let me get to chat. I see there's some new people in here. And listen, I like everybody. Now, there's channels that I just don't go to because I don't get into all that drama. I really don't like doing drama. But I'll fucking stand up. I'll stand up 10 toes deep and I'll go with the best of them because you're not going to talk shit on me and you're not going to falsify shit either and say stuff that's not true. Let's see here. Who we got? We got Christopher. We got Hawkeyes. We got Jane. Jane's from the UK. She's been on this case too. We got Journey. Good to see you, Journey. That's my new producer. The new producer's there. Wellington, it's good to have you here. Appreciate it. Gail Nelson, love you, girl. Glad you're here. Let's see here. I think I saw Salty in here. Salty, I love the daylights out of you, sweetheart. Here's Monica. Get to I'm going to mess this up. Let me get my glasses on. Monaga, Masa, Phosphate. I don't know what. I hope I probably butchered that. And if I did, I'm truly sorry. He'll try to mansplain. Yeah. Have you ever noticed when he closes his eyes? I swear he's lying. And he closes his eyes all the time. Salty Sleuth. Salty Sleuth, Hawkeyes, can you share Salty Sleuth's channel for her? And also, if you have a channel and you want a wrench, I'll give you a wrench so you can share your channel. I want to share everybody's channel. I didn't watch his coverage. I did, but caught the misinformation. He's got so much misinformation, Salty. And listen, I just get on here. I just tell you guys the truth. Okay. I investigate. I tell you the truth. I do not try to go after people. But one thing you'll learn about Rock, I won't sit and take it either. I will speak the hell up. I'm not going to sit and take it, and I'm not going to let somebody lie. I'm not going to let them lie on me. Rock is a rock star. I don't know about that. Yes, I love my producer. Yes, I like Salty too. I've watched a couple. I didn't realize you had a channel, or maybe my brain's just been somewhere else, but I went and watched a couple things. Unfortunately, it's been because of the Joe Schmoe stuff that's happened with you, and you've covered it really well, and I see why you're upset. I do see why you're upset. Absolutely see why you're upset. Rock Chalk, you and I met in another community a very long time ago. That would probably be the Brian Koberger. Is what I'm saying. I think so. I think it was Brian Koberger. I remember the name for sure. Like I said, I don't really have a problem with anybody. Well, I'll just say it, Michelle. She can just stay the hell gone away from anything. I think I ran her off because I don't deal with her shit either. But sometimes when you get crazies on the internet, you got to address them. My snarky name for commenting on the show Sister Wives. You know, I watched a lot of the Sister Wives myself too. I really like that. Salty Sleuth says, I told him you were in the area and covering London and Kansas City moms. And that it's really, I know a lot of people oblivious and everybody, and I don't ever correct them, and don't think I'm correcting you because I'm not trying to correct you. But Kansas City is a long way. If you're not from the area, Kansas City is probably 9 hours from Guyman, Oklahoma, in that area. So that's more of the panhandle. And Kansas City is clear on the opposite side of the state. And a lot of people, I get it, because, you know, you think Kansas City, you think that's Kansas. But this is actually in the panhandle with the Kansas Moms case. And that's a crazy case, too. It's very crazy. Same Salty. No Rock way too long. Absolutely. And I hope I've never offended anybody. That is not what I would ever try to do. You will not see me in channels I don't like. You won't see me commenting in the hate channels. I don't go there with that. I just don't. Hawkeye says, told you I like Salty, remember, and you didn't know she had a channel. Yeah, and she sent me the link. That is true. Yes, it's in Oklahoma. It's right on the border, Salty. It's right on the border. The Panhandle. See, back in the day, the Panhandle, nobody owned the Panhandle, okay? It was free of everything. It was called lawless. I mean, they had prostitution, they had gambling, they had it all. And eventually the government said, And I think Texas had it, but they didn't do anything with it. And the federal government came in and said, hey, somebody's got to claim this, and you got to get some law in there. And Texas didn't want to claim it because of where it's at and the degrees. And I don't remember exactly what the exact thing is, but because of slaves. You couldn't have slaves past a certain degrees there. And that's right where that fell. So anyway, Oklahoma ended up claiming it, but I don't know that it still has, I still think it's lawless over there. It's crazy. But anyway, okay. Yes, the Panhandle. Journey says she knows nothing. I'm just saying, listen, you'll say stuff about Wisconsin, and I have to ask you because, listen, I understand I'm not from that area. So I'm not getting on to anybody at all. It's just, it is definitely a different part of the place. Different part of Kansas, two opposite ends. She was boots on the ground for the Kansas moms. Absolutely. Salty says, yeah, people confuse my state. I'm in the Florida Panhandle, far from Central and South Florida. Yeah, see, so you understand. Absolutely. But if people really want to start looking for it, or listen, I am open, and I'll help you any way I can too. Anybody with the channel, even with the Kansas moms case, cover it. I'll send you things. I'll do anything you want. I'll help you. All you got to do is ask. And our community here at Rock Chalk Community, they're really good about sharing things, really good about lavender today. I've been looking to see when the court papers from yesterday would go on. Well, she got to them before I did, and she sent them to me, and I appreciate that. I'm in Stillwater. I'm on this Jesse Butler case right now. We went and did the rally yesterday, and there might be one Saturday. So we're in Stillwater. We're in my Tiffin bus. Salty Sleuth says, I watched some of Rock's coverage on the Kansas Mom's case. Yes. Also, there's Salty's channel. Please go join her channel. We love her. I know Hawkeyes really loves you, and what I've seen, I really like. Like I said, I don't think anybody could say they really had problems with me. I'm pretty easy to get along with. Yes, we were boots on the ground. This is not my channel. This is everybody's channel. We all work together. Most of the people that's in here, not all, but a lot of them are from the area, from the Panhandle. The Panhandle is awful. It's absolutely awful. Let me see here. Let me go back to, I think that's all I was going to play on the, let's see what else this moron said. Listen, we're going to watch Joe a little bit more so you guys can see exactly. Yeah, Hawkeyes is amazing. She's a sweetheart. I've got you on my TV so I can see it. Yes, we're a community. Absolutely a community. But when you got some creator out there just saying bogus shit, you got to call them out. Salty, I know you do too. You call them out. Absolutely. But the way he closes his eyes and talks, but let's listen. I'm going to play this more because our channel was the first one to cover London Valdez. And again, I don't care whether we were first or last or whatever, but I'm not going to sit here and let some other creator, and nobody was covering it. Just me, Joe Schmoe, who's driving through the Panhandle, and I don't see any cops at all. And I just find out that this young girl's missing, and I'm going to make it part of my channel. Okay, make it part of your channel. But you have to throw in talking about Rock Chalk? And you damn well knew I was already covering it because somebody that's in the chat right now told you. And then that person was in the chat when you were dogging me. Okay? So they damn well know what I'm saying right now is the truth, Joe. They know. They know exactly. Let's see what else this moron's got to say. Yeah, I'm going to call you a moron now because you got me pissed off. Pissed off. And I go to Indiana all the time. You want to have lunch sometime? Because then I'll really tell you how pissed off I am. Covered it with misinformation and getting cozy with London's mom. Well, Salty, let me tell you, I always feel sorry for the parents, okay? But also, I cover things that a lot of people wouldn't cover because I am all about the truth. All about truth. Everything's got to be covered. Even the stuff that might not look so great, okay? Even stuff that might not look so great on the family. If that's part of the case, I'm going to cover it. Does that mean I don't like the family? No, that's not true. Does it mean I'm trying to put them down? No. But that's what I've always liked about YouTube than the national media. You know why? Because they're censored at what they're going to cover and what they're going to talk about. In YouTube, we talk about it. We bring it up. We bring it up front, forward. Let's see here. I'm going to go over the comments and then I'm going to go ahead and start playing this a little bit because
now watching. So you could tell her mama, her story's now across the pond.
Nice.
But you could, this is already across.
So June 5th, London leaves her grandmother's house in Hooker, Oklahoma, not Liberal, Kansas, without permission.
Listen, I'm going to agree with that comment. I'm going to agree with that comment that's on the screen right now.
Let's talk about that part before we go on.
Okay, so the Liberal Kansas thing was when she first went missing and they were looking for her. Liberal Kansas is right across the state line from Hooker. They're like two little towns apart from each other. 20-minute drive or so down US 54. But she was seen with somebody in Liberal, but it was earlier in the week. So when they put that on the poster, that's what their belief was, and it ended up not being correct. But by that time, she had been found, so there was no need to correct the missing poster.
Okay.
That was their belief at the time. So they weren't like misleading anybody. They didn't know where she was. They didn't know who she was with until June 9th.
Okay, so what is this without permission? That kind of got my attention.
Yeah, she just walked out the door, and as she was walking out the door, so she was living with grandma. at the time, staying with grandma. And she just texted, "I'll be right back," and she never was back.
So then she was picked up by Jose Maharas through her
Mhm.
family, though her family did not know who had taken her. All right,
At
let's
the
check
time.
on her.
which is why they didn't have that on the missing poster.
Then Jose introduced London to Braden Brown. The three of them, the trio, began partying across Gaiman, Beaver, and Woodward, Oklahoma. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So London had been spending time with Jose before. Like, they had known each other for months and months.
Dating?
They may have at one point in time, but I think he was more interested in her than she was in him.
Mm.
And so he's communicating with Braden Brown. They're connected.
Oh my God,
somehow,
was I
and
muted
a
that
lot of
whole
ways I
time?
can't talk
Hold
about it
on.
too much, but she
Sorry
saw
about that. He's got me so frustrated. What I said was, she might have known him. I don't know, but she ran away to go hang out with him and his friend. Again, I ran away. I did things that my parents wouldn't let me do, so I ran away. I got it. Yeah, I can't believe I was muted. Well, I got my friend justified here, and she does not realize how lives go. So I have to mute because, like, she's smoking some weed and coughing. She's opening the door, and she does not realize that everything she does, everything she does comes across to you guys when I'm trying to do a live. So that's why I was muted. And no, I'm not mad at her. She just don't understand that everything goes across the internet and it goes loudly.
his picture on Snapchat or something, and she's like, "I think he's cute." So they're like, "Let's go. I'll take you to go meet him, and we'll all hang out together." And they did.
Okay, we're going to show this cuteness all over again. Not too cute. What do y'all think about that? Y'all let us know in comments. Is he a cutie pie? Would you want your daughter going out with him? You want your daughter going out with him? Tell me in comments if you think he's a cutie pie. Okay, so they're partying it up, and then
Right, because so Jose lived in Guyman, so that's where they went. Well, they went out supposedly on the 5th. They went out fishing at a lake, and then they headed back to Guyman, and then another small town, Beaver, is where Braden lived with his dad, although he is an adult male, 19 years old, and a 20-year-old hanging out with a 16-year-old away from home for 2.5, 3 days, 5, 6, 7, 2 days, 2.5. So
He seems
they go to Beaver, and the order that's in.
he seems very nervous when he talks too. It's so weird. So weird. Now he's a dating counselor. Exactly. Exactly. I don't understand. Where's the producer? Forgive her. I ran away, Rock. Ran away for several years. I ran away too. Okay. And it was for a boy. And my parents, listen, I met with my parents at this boy's house. And listen, I had the choice when the cops got there to go to the children's home or go home with my parents. My dad was going to kill me. I went to the children's home. Fuck that. I'm not going home with this man. Are you kidding me? I was in the children's home for a month and a half because I refused to go home because I just knew my daddy was going to kill my ass. Oh, yeah.
The OSBI press release is backwards from this, so I'm not really sure what the correct order is because a lot of people don't know where they were for 2 days. But Braden's mom and dad are divorced. his mom lives in Woodward. So they bounced around from Jose's house to Braden's dad's house to Braden's mom's house. And then back to Guyman.
You know, I will say this. London's mom lives in Ponca City, which is quite a ways away from Hooker, but grew up in Hooker. And she said this, she said that, and she said it on live. This wasn't our personal conversation. So when I said I'm not going to release me and her personal conversation, still not going to. But when she was in Ponca City, she was drinking a lot, losing a little bit of control over. And Hooker's smaller. Her mom thought if she sent her to Hooker to live with the grandma, it'd be better for her. And hopefully she would, stay in school and do right. Okay. And listen, teenagers can have the best families and they still sneak out to see boys, sneak out to hang out with their friends, sneak out to do a lot of things. That's part of being a teenager, right?
And then somehow ended up outside of Forgan, which is south of Beaver.
Who is this lovely Tracy on the case?
She is a really good friend of mine. She's my sister from another mister.
Oh, nice to
Oh, really? So you actually got fans you actually got subs that's still with you after everything that's happened in the last, ever since CrimeCon? You still got friends? Why aren't you going live, Joe?
meet you. I've heard about you, Tracy. Welcome to my channel. We love Joe too. Yep, Joe.
You
Good
guys,
to hell.
how about that?
Yep. Thank you so much for joining. And please, everybody, truly share. And there's something about hype. If you know what
Let me tell you how that all went down. Okay. So again, I was asking about the cutting and different things. And I know that upset her when I talked to the mom. I wasn't trying to upset her. And then there was another Valdez, same name as the uncle that got arrested in Woodward, and that's all in the same area. But it was not any relation, and I'll say that 1,000 times over, not any relation to London. But anyway, on the Facebook posts, they were looking for somebody to 1986. That's when I graduated high school. Anyway, they were looking for somebody to cover this case. The mom was, and the family. And she knows I'm going to put out there anything I know that's the truth about it. I'm going to put it out there. So anyway, they were looking at another channel, and they were looking at eBay in the area. And some people had dropped his name and a couple other names. So that's how the mom and him got connected, because I saw the Facebook posts.
hype is, please hype. I don't know what it is. I'm learning. Okay, so June 5th, London, Braden, and Jose continue departing various towns. During this time, London is not in contact with her family.
Actually, she was.
Okay.
So she was texting with sister, she was texting with mom, and she was texting with grandma off and on until the morning of the 7th when the texting stopped.
Okay, so
Here, I'm going to go over these comments and get caught up because I don't want anybody to think I'm avoiding them. Salty Sleuth says, I've heard her speak for herself. I formed my opinion based on what I heard from her mom. Yep. And the best friend, the aunt was the best friend. Listen, I thought their lives did good, but there's a lot that they're not telling. And that's up to them. But usually, eventually, it all comes out. Probably the best thing to do is just be honest and say everything. But that's what I said when I was on the phone call with her. Just got to be honest with all of it. Journey says, yep, my daughter did that. And I would call the police on her and report her missing. That's the other thing. She left the house, didn't come home. It took them a while to report her missing because they thought she was going to come home. And I don't know. If you have a kid run away, I'm going to say the best thing to do is post it on Facebook and probably let the police know that they ran away the minute you know that they ran away, so that they can be trying to get them and bring them in. I'm not sure that they know exactly when she passed away. We know when the body was found, and we know when the last communication was with her family. But exactly when she passed away, I don't know that they know that. Okay, I ran away too, 1986. Met my husband while mom was chasing me in the station wagon. He was older. I'm still with him 39 years later. He's 7 years older. Yeah, I get it. I did too. My daughter asked me why I called the police on me. I said, you're missing from home. Yeah. And I believe that's a lot as to why the police department. And the DA was shitty. I don't think the DA should have been shitty to mom. The DA asked exactly in an email, why wasn't your daughter at home safe? Kids run away. That's why I told my story. I ran away, and I had a great parent. I had great parents, and I still ran away because Rock wanted to go have fun, and Rock wanted to go do things that her parents would never allow her to do. Okay. Oh, wow. My story, same, but I then ran from that husband. Yeah, sometimes they're not the best husbands. But hey, you can know somebody a long time, and once you get married, they are not that same person. So I get it. Hawkeye shared the channel, a channel. I like it. Police bring her home lots of times, laugh out loud, 4 a.m. It was work keeping up with her. My parents hired a special investigator. Yes, I'm going to go over the docs tonight, but I am going to go over them real quick. I'm just going to go over this briefly, and we're going to go over the docs real quick, but I plan on doing a live tonight. I just wanted to get this out of the way with this moron. And then I'm never speaking of it again, unless he does something else really damn stupid. Because I don't care. Let me tell you what. Joe Schmoe, you don't control whether I sleep. You don't control. You are not taking up rent space in my head. Okay? Let me tell you how I got on here today. A friend told me that you was on this channel talking about London Valdez and that you was the only one covering it. Another lie. And you wasn't the first one covering it either. Let's see here. I'm going to finish this. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Let me see where he's at here because I think I'm about ready to end this part.
So that's news to us. Okay.
And she kept promising, I'm coming home, I'm coming home, I'm coming home.
So they know for sure she was alive on the 7th.
Yes.
Now, early in the day, London reported missing on the 7th. So this is what we know, what is out in the public. Now, Joe, that's why I'm have Joe here. He's got the inside. There's a lot of things he's not going to share because it's not right for the family in the case, but he's sharing what he can. So June 7th.
Exactly. Because they don't want to share it because there is stuff. There is stuff. And honestly, she's a teenager, and teenagers do things, okay? Teenagers do things that their parents don't want them to do. We get rebellious when we're teenagers. It happens. Does that make us a bad teenager? No. No, it makes us a normal teenager. Now, not normal like, the kids that just never leave their house type of thing. But we push our limits. We definitely push our limits when we're teenagers.
Early in the day, London is reported missing by her grandmother and officially declared a runaway. Let's talk about that before we go to the next section. Who's doing that on my channel? Damn it. Maybe
it's
got a
the
gremlin.
that did it before.
I got a gremlin.
Okay. So, and Christopher says, oh, and anybody that's in here, if you don't know how to look up documents in Oklahoma, I'm going to show you how here in a minute. Well, I could already have it pulled up, which I do, but I'm going to exit out of it and start fresh so you can see how to pull up documents in Oklahoma. So you don't ever have to rely on me or somebody else. There was shared evidence in between this filing by Tad's attorney. I want to read that release. It caused this denial. Okay. I'll bring it up. Let me get to it here. Okay. Now we're gonna skip Joe. Joe, if you're paying attention, quit running out of both sides of your mouth, okay? You need to start thinking before you're talking. You would think with what, yeah, Joe is a Muppet. You would think with what Joe's been going through and sticking his nose in all this other shit that he wouldn't go even to another channel. Listen, guys, you know as well as I do. You might see people in my community right now, okay? But you might be up watching, even during the day, watching a channel, and you see that person clear, maybe in country rap or in another channel, okay? Especially in true crime. Eventually, we kind of know each other because we cover a lot of the same cases. So we eventually run into each other. But there's no reason to put extra stuff in there like you're Mr. Billy Badass or something because you're actually boring to me. He actually is boring to me. Okay. I'm going to show you how to look up. Let's see here. New tab. Yeah. Okay. You type in OSCN, but I'll type it in. It's right there. Go into OSCN net. And you could have went to docket search there, but this is how I've always did it. And we're going to go into Texas County. Again, I'm going to schedule a live for tonight. But I've been saying that I felt like Tad was his attorney was going to try to get him off, saying he did not unalive Jillian. That's what it looks like is happening. Okay. Let's see if this comes up. Sometimes to share my screen in StreamYard, I have to see if it, I might have to back out of the live and just bring it up so you can see the actual documents. This lag between my computer and the live we're doing right now, sometimes it's very annoying. Okay, yeah, here we are. Okay. November 5th was the arraignment. And we're going to go down here. To the bottom is where you'll be able to get the documents at. And actually, I'm going to go there's a lot there, so I'm just going to go all the way to the end. And back up. Okay. Christopher wants to see something. These are the re-punishments. And here's the squash. Got an itch in my throat. And I smoke cigarettes, so that's probably part of it. Need to quit. The wind is blowing today. I think it's got me where it's hard to, it's tickle in my throat. Okay, stick on my throat. I'm trying to bring it up. I've got it up on my screen, but it's not allowing me to bring it up on the squash. I'll just read it to you. But I posted all these on my posts on my channel. But I'm going to read it to you. You're just not going to be able to read along. So here we go. Filed November 4th, 2025, which was the day before. Defendant's motion to quash and brief in support. Comes now, defendant Tad Burt Cullum, by and through counsel of record, Joy Miskell, and Tamala Bridge, submits this motion to quash and brief in support. Pursuant to 22 OS, a motion to quash for insufficient evidence should be granted because the prosecution failed to provide sufficient evidence to support the necessary elements of the offenses charged in support of Mr. Cullum states as follows. Number one, on April 12, 2024, the prosecution filed an information alleging Mr. Cullum committed the offenses as follows. Count 1, murder in the first degree. Count 2, murder in the first degree. Count 3, conspiracy. Count 4, unlawful removal of a dead body. Count 5, unlawful removal of a dead body. Count 6, unlawful desecration of a human corpse. And 7, unlawful desecration of a human corpse. Number 2, as to counts 1 and 2, a person commits murder in the first degree when that person unlawfully and with malice aforethought causes the death of another human being. The required elements of murder in the first degree include, listen, I'm going to stop right here because I was just talking to somebody about this earlier. I wasn't on YouTube other than for music at this time, but Casey Anthony. Everybody knows she killed her daughter, but the prosecution was going for first degree murder. And that's why Casey Anthony walked, because they tried to overcharge her and didn't have the evidence for it to fall in first degree murder. And you can't get double jeopardy. So she walked. She walked, and we damn well knew that she killed her daughter. Okay. The required elements of first degree murder in the first degree include the death of a human. Number 2, the death was unlawful. Number 3, the death was caused by the defendant. 4, the death was caused with malice aforethought. Then it skips to number 3. Paragraph 3. Malice aforethought is a deliberate intention to take away the life of a human being. Well, we know he did it. I knew he was going to try to get out of it. This intent must be formed before the act and must exist at the time of death, although intent can be formed instantly before the commission of the act. Paragraph 4. Here the prosecution has failed to provide sufficient evidence Mr. Cullum caused either death with malice aforethought. The insufficient evidence for these two elements merits dismissal of both counts. Paragraph 5. As to count 3, conspiracy is defined as 2 or more people conspiring to commit any crime. The elements of conspiracy are 1, an agreement between 2 or more people. 2, to commit a crime. 3, the defendants were parties to the agreement at the time it's made and knowingly became a party to the agreement, and the defendant overly acted to further the agreement to commit a crime. Paragraph 6 says, the prosecution did not provide sufficient evidence to show that Mr. Cullum was a party to a conspiracy to commit a crime, or if the court finds he entered a conspiracy to commit a crime, he did not remain a party to any conspiracy. Mr. Cullum argues he did not overtly act to further any conspiracy. Dude, it was your leased land that you leased, and you dug the hole to put them in with the skidster, and you and Paul Grice put them in the freezer and strapped them and put them in the 10-foot hole, put cement on them and buried them, and to put hay over the top. Jeez. Okay, paragraph 7. As to counts 4 and 5, unlawful removal of a dead body prohibits intentional removal for any purpose of a descendant's remains from the initial site where the remains are located. Now, he helped get Jillian in the trailer, and he helped get Veronica in the trailer where they were unalived at L Road, and then took them to Beasley's property where he leased that land for his cattle. Okay, paragraph 8 says, for these counts, the prosecution did not provide sufficient evidence that Mr. Cullum intentionally removed the remains of the 2 descendants from the site of of death. Hey, girly girl, good to see you. I'm gonna go live again tonight, probably about 7:30. Okay, number 9. As to count 6 and 7, unlawful desecration of human corpse requires the state to prove Mr. Cullum knowingly and willfully desecrated a human corpse for any purpose. The statute lists examples of unlawful purposes, including tampering with evidence of a crime, camouflaging the death of a person. Yeah, he put hay over that hole that he filled in, disposing of a dead body, impeding an investigation of a crime, or concealing the identification of a dead body. Paragraph 10 says, Mr. Cullum argues the prosecution failed to provide sufficient evidence that he knowingly and willfully desecrated a human corpse. The totality of the evidence indicates that Mr. Cullum allegedly involvement with moving the remains of 2 descendants was made under duress. This argument should not be construed as any admission to any element of any circumstances because of the crimes, because Mr. Cullum maintains his innocence as to all counts. This argument is included to both support this claim for insufficient evidence and to preserve Mr. Cullum's available appellate rights. Paragraph 11. A brief in support of defendant's motion follows. Brief in support. That's what we're on now. Procedural history and evidence presented. I'm going to get a drink so I don't start coughing, and I'll catch up with the chat after I read these. Okay, procedural history and evidence presented. On December 17th through the 18th, 2024, this court held a preliminary hearing in this matter. The evidence presented at preliminary hearing included testimony from Cora Twombly, Paul Grice, James Beasley, Officer Brian Exina, Officer Jason Ott, and Officer Trevor Ridgway. Witness number 1, Cora Twombly. Ms. Twombly testified regarding her involvement in the homicide of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Ms. Twombly exchanged a plea bargain with the prosecution to have a significantly different outcome in her case. The prosecution charged Miss Twombly with 5 counts, including count 1, murder in the first degree, count 2, murder in the first degree, count 3, kidnapping, count 4, kidnapping, count 5, conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree. As a result of the plea, Miss Twombly received many concessions constituent on her testimony against Mr. Cullum. The prosecution agreed not to file a bill of particulars seeking the death of Miss Twombly. She received immunity for all crimes she committed in Kansas, and the kidnapping charges were dismissed. Miss Twombly pled guilty to counts 1 and 2 and is expected to receive a suspended life sentence except for the first 30 years imprisonment. Yeah, it's going to be like 30 years plus 10 is what it looks like. The prosecution dismissed counts 3 and 4. For count 5, she pled guilty and received 10 years imprisonment. The parties agreed all counts run concurrently. Receiving a set term of years will give her the opportunity to transition back into the community without having the parole board require her rehabilitation before release. This agreement preserved Miss Twombly's life. Miss Twombly's testimony following this agreement reveals her significant involvement as a primary actor who, with Tiffany Adams and Paul Grice, planned and caused the death of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Before her testimony at the preliminary hearing, and you could go back and look at the lives. We went over Paul Grice's testimony at the preliminary hearing, and we went over Cora's on 2 different lies. It's actually very interesting to listen to. Maybe not listening to me, but listening to the testimony that was given. Okay, before her testimony at the preliminary hearing, Ms. Twombly admitted that she reviewed case-related discovery, her own video interview, transcripts of her own interview, and video of Paul Grice's first interview. The interview occurred on October 15, 2024, following the filing of the information in Ms. Twombly's case. For reasons unknown, she was permitted to review part of the video of Paul Grice's first interview with law enforcement before her testimony. She looked at all available discoveries in preparation for her testimony. Discovery in this case includes multiple police reports from law enforcement, photographs, lab testing reports, physical evidence, and video interviews, and more. Ms. Twombly described her interview with law enforcement on October 15, 2025. At the interview, Ms. Twombly explained how a group of friends formed a group with similar political. October 15, 2025. Described her interview. That's got to say 2024. I don't know why it says 2025. That was just a month ago. I don't believe that happened a month ago. We're going to keep going. At this interview, Ms. Twombly explained how a group of friends formed a group with similar political and religious beliefs. The original group included Paul Grice, Lachey Grice, Cora Twombly, Cole Twombly, Barrett Cook, Lacey Cook. Listen, they stopped at Lacey Cook, okay? Let's just go on. They also named Frank Twombly. They also named Clint Twombly. They also, Joe Bob. What was Joe Bob's name? There was more. But in this particular court order, they're only naming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the group later expanded to including others, including Tad Cullum and Tiffany Adams. Miss Adams told the group she was involved in a custody court proceeding to seek custody of her grandchildren. In August 2023, Miss Adams was unable to continue to advocate in court for custody of her grandchildren due to the costs. Miss Adams told Miss Twombly the children were being abused where they were at with their mother by their uncle. Miss Adams asked the group to come to her home to witness to law enforcement and the children's father attempting to removing the children from Miss Adams' care. That would be the call of arms when Wrangler went to pick up his kids, and Tiffany called over pretty much everybody in the God's Misfits group over, and they all brought guns and police came. That was the call of arms. Member of the group came to the home armed, and the children remained with Miss Adams. Miss Adams coordinated the group meetings and chose who to invite to join her planning. Her goal was to stop the children from residing with their mother because she was permitting them to be sexually abused. When the group first met to plan their intervention in the custody case, neither Miss Twombly nor Miss Adams suggested she die. Later, Miss Adams spoke to Miss Twombly alone, and Miss Adams said she needed to get rid of Miss Butler. Miss Twombly knew that Miss Adams wanted to kill Miss Butler. She testified Miss Adams invented a scenario that would make Miss Butler's death looked like an accident. Miss Adams' plan was to have a vice thrown through her truck into Miss Butler's windshield while she was driving. Miss Adams wanted Tad Cullum to meet with them and practice throwing the vice at hay bales. For the practice run, Miss Twombly planned to drive the truck while Mr. Cullum threw the vice. The practice never occurred. Miss Twombly, Miss Adams, and Mr. Cullum met to clear dead trees from Miss Twombly's property. Miss Twombly stated, Mr. Cullum brought the vice to the location. They left the T off. Brought the vice to the location. But she never said Mr. Cullum was aware of the planned use for the vice. She testified he was present to help clear dead trees out of her yard. Miss Twombly never concretely stated she or Miss Adams told Miss Cullum about the plan to murder Miss Butler, only that Tiffany wanted us to practice on those hay bales with the vice. The practice never occurred. Miss Twombly and Miss Adams worked together to create a plan for killing Miss Butler with a vice. The two women alone created the vice plan with details. Miss Adams' truck, because the truck did not have GPS, coordinating the purchase of disposable cell phones to avoid racing, picking a date, time, and location, and ensuring Miss Butler would be in the area. The vice plan failed because Miss Butler was not at the planned location instead. Miss Butler went to a friend's home. Following the failed plan, Miss Adams and Miss Twombly continued to plan to kill Miss Butler. After the vice plan failed, Miss Adams and Miss Twombly created a new plan to kill Miss Butler. Miss Twombly testified the second plan involved the help of the other group members. She explained that Miss Adams coordinated the second plan and assigned duties. Miss Adams orchestrated nearly all components of the plan. The meetup with Miss Butler, the location, the burner phones, vehicles, trailer, equipment, weapon type, strategy to lure the descendant to the trailer, method for hiding the bodies, location for hiding the bodies, destruction of evidence, and finally the recruitment of people to implement her orders. In addition to the planning, Miss Adams herself intended to lure Miss Butler into the trailer for her death. Miss Adams bought and distributed the tasers and burner phones. Before the planned day, Miss Adams knew the visit supervisor, Miss Jillian Kelly, would be present, and Miss Adams explained she would need to die too because Miss Kelly didn't keep the kids safe from the sexual abuse, and Miss Kelly would be a witness to the crime. Miss Adams described Miss Kelly as collateral damage. On March 30th, 2024, Miss Adams and Miss Twombly carried out their plan to kill Miss Butler. The evening started out to plan when Miss Adams and Miss Twombly met with the group at the location Miss Adams identified. The trailer and truck were present, and Miss Adams planned shortly after Miss Butler and Miss Kelly arrived in a separate truck. Well, they weren't in a truck. They were in a Kia. But anyway, Miss Twombly was at a lookout in another vehicle, and she knew the plan had not gone as expected. This is weird. Nobody proofread this thing? And she knew the plan had not gone as expected when saw two people running from the trailer to the car. She moved her truck behind Miss Butler's car, and she saw Mr. Grice and Miss Butler struggling. Miss Twombly saw Miss Adams walk from the trailer. She observed Paul Grice on top of Miss Butler, stabbing her. Miss Twombly said Mr. Cullum helped Mr. Grice pull Miss Butler's body into the trailer. She did not see Mr. Cullum stab or injure either Miss Butler or Miss Kelly. Exactly what I've said all along. I said that Tad's attorney was going to try to make it that he didn't have anything to do with this. He was this innocent bystander. Because Paul Grice couldn't pinpoint seeing Tad do anything to Jillian, and neither could Cora. But you would think DNA would... Listen, I hope OSBI's got it right. I think they do. But you would think DNA would show the difference, because it would have been all over him and it would have been all over Jillian. Now, Jillian would have had also Paul Grice's DNA, because if you remember, when the trailer was moving, he said her eyes were fluttering and he did not want her to wake up in that freezer, okay, with the dead body. So he stabbed her because he wasn't sure if she was dead yet or not. But also, he had felt like he had been set up. They just shut him in this trailer and started going down the road. As a matter of fact, when the trailer stopped, he got out with his gun and pulled it on Tad. He thought he'd been set up. Okay, here we go. On March 30th, 2024, Miss Adams and Miss Twombly carried out their plan to kill Miss Butler. Did I reread that part? Miss Twombly was a lookout. Yeah, I reread that part. Okay, we're going to go to the rest. Okay. Miss Twombly said Mr. Cullum helped Mr. Grice pull Miss Butler's body into the trailer. She did not see Mr. Cullum stab or injure either Miss Butler or Miss Kelly. She testified she only saw Mr. Cullum walking. That's all I ever saw him do. Afterwards, and that's in parentheses, afterwards, Miss Twombly left with Miss Adams. She and her husband, Cole Twombly, disposed of evidence, including a hammer, burner phones, and clothes. Miss Twombly did not testify or give any information to explain what happened after she left with Miss Adams or who took the bodies and where. Now we're getting to witness number 2, Paul Grice. Let me catch up with chat. Actually, I'm not going to catch up with chat. We're going to have to wait till I get through these because it's in a whole different screen. But Christopher says that's why Tad continues to help hide bodies. Because Paul forced him with the gun. Yeah. Here we go. Paul Grice's testimony. Mr. Grice's testimony started at the preliminary hearing on December 17, 2024 and continued the next day. He testified regarding his involvement in the homicide of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Mr. Grice bargained successfully with the prosecution to testify in exchange for preservation of his life. The prosecution charged Mr. Grice with 5 counts, including murder in the first degree, kidnapping, conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree. As a result of the agreement, the prosecution agreed not to file a bill of particulars seeking the death of Mr. Grice. Mr. Grice's purpose in testifying was to get off the death penalty. Mr. Grice's testimony following this agreement reveals his significant involvement as a primary actor who, with Tiffany Adams and Cora Twombly, planned and caused the death of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Mr. Grice became involved in the group because he knew Cora Twombly. At the group meetings, he met Cole Twombly, Tiffany Adams, and Tad Cullum. See, I think they got this wrong too. Tad and Tiffany knew each other way before the God's Misfits group. I'm going to read that again. Mr. Grice became involved. I thought Mr. Grice knew him all, but we're going to read it again. Mr. Grice became involved in the group because he knew Cora Twombly. At the group meetings, he met Cole Twombly, Tiffany Adams, and Tad Cullum. But they're all from that area. I thought he already knew them. Mr. Grice joined an anti-government group called the American State and National Movement, and he filed paperwork to become a state nationalist with the intent of avoiding the government's authority. Mr. Grice learned from Miss Adams that her grandchildren lived in an unsafe environment with her mother's family, and relatives sexually abused the children under her watch. Miss Adams came to Mr. Grice's home to talk about custody and sexual abuse. He testified after our talk, she point blank asked me if I would kill Veronica. Mr. Grice did not rashly make decision in the moment. Instead, he took time to weigh his options and decide if he wanted to kill Miss Butler. Miss Adams used religion and quotes from the Bible to make Mr. Grice feel that he had to kill Miss Butler. He claimed Miss Adams manipulated him when she used his history of childhood abuse to appeal to his emotions and when she asked him what he would do if this were his own kids. Mr. Grice said he boasted to the group that he had killed people as a member of a mercenary group. He told his friend the purpose of the mercenary group was to kill people to keep kids safe. He recanted this statement at the preliminary hearing, saying he lied while drinking. Miss Adams met with Mr. Grice a second time at his home, where she approached him about killing Miss Butler. After careful consideration, Mr. Grice told Miss Adams he would kill Miss Butler to protect the children. Miss Adams told Mr. Grice the visit supervisor would be present, that she would have to be killed She would have to be killed because she would be a witness. Miss Adams told him, "It's a nobody." Talk about Julian. Miss Adams explained her entire plan and each step of the method. Miss Adams' plan was to bring a pickup, a trailer, a freezer. She would lure the women to the trailer and have Mr. Grice kill Miss Butler. Mr. Grice said her plan was to have Mr. Cullum kill Miss Kelly, bury the bodies, and destroy the evidence. Mr. Grice coordinated his plans with Miss Adams. His actions were consistent with Miss Adams' plans. She brought tasers to immobilize the women if they refused to get in the trailer. Likewise, Mr. Grice brought a hammer because, and this is in parentheses, so it's something that Grice is saying, "I was thinking if you could knock them in the head and knock them out, it would make things easier." So he brought a hammer, a knife, and a pistol with him to kill Miss Butler. Mr. Grice claimed that Mr. Cullum's job was to coordinate the freezer. Later, Mr. Grice explained that he was the person that drove Clint Twombly's flatbed truck to Miss Adams' trailer, hooked up the trailer, and afterwards picked up Mr. Cullum. The freezer was in the back of the trailer with ratchet straps. Mr. Grice hid in the back of the trailer to kill Miss Butler. Once he saw Miss Butler at the trailer, he tried to taser her, and he hit her in the head with the hammer. When the taser did not work, Mr. Grice hit Miss Butler until the hammer fell apart. He chased her while hitting her with the hammer and tasing her. Mr. Grice tackled Miss Butler and stabbed her multiple times with his knife. He tried to stab her throat while she was fighting him. Mr. Grice was the only person that stabbed Miss Butler, and he acknowledged the medical examiner's report listed 30 knife wounds. Mr. Grice yelled for help after he cut his own hand. He knew Miss Butler was dead because she quit fighting back, blinking and breathing. You could see the life was gone. Miss Adams came to help him. Miss Adams walked in a circle, laughing and smiling while Mr. Grice killed Miss Butler. While Mr. Grice stabbed and killed Miss Butler, he heard Miss Kelly scream and gasp, but he did not see what happened to Miss Kelly. Mr. Grice entered the trailer and saw Miss Kelly's body. He didn't know who loaded her. He did not see Miss Kelly die or who caused her death. Mr. Grice said, "I didn't see Mr. Cullum do anything." After their bodies were in the trailer, Miss Adams drove the truck and trailer away with Mr. Grice and the remains in the trailer. Mr. Grice noticed that Miss Kelly's eyes were fluttering, and he checked her for a pulse. He could not tell if Miss Kelly was breathing. Mr. Grice was more concerned about getting his hand to stop bleeding than he was with Miss Kelly's life. He started to worry the group had set him up, which delayed him from checking Miss Kelly's pulse and breathing. Mr. Grice said he was set up to kill both ladies. Mr. Grice said he stabbed Miss Kelly 2 or 3 times in the neck to be sure she died. During cross-examination, Mr. Grice acknowledged the medical examiner's report documented 16 stab wounds and that the cause of death was a stab wound to her spinal cord at the base of her skull. Mr. Grice said he lied to Mr. Twombly, and Mr. Cullum about how and why he stabbed Miss Kelly. He told them Miss Kelly woke up and tried to take his gun. Mr. Grice claimed Mr. Cullum told him Miss Kelly did not fight back. Mr. Grice manufactured this story to testify to the loyalty group. When the truck and trailer stopped, Mr. Cullum opened the trailer gate, and Mr. Grice put Mr. Cullum at gunpoint with his 45mm handgun. Then Mr. Grice had Mr. Cullum drive the skidster. So this is crazy. So according to Tad's attorney, they're trying to say that Paul Grice has a gun on Tad and making him drive the skidster. Is that how you guys are taking it? Because I'm going to read it again right here. When the truck and trailer stopped, Mr. Cullum opened the trailer gate, and Mr. Grice put Mr. Cullum at gunpoint with his 45. Then Mr. Grice had Mr. Cullum drive the skidster to the burial site while Mr. Grice moved the truck and trailer. Mr. Grice and Mr. Cullum took Miss Butler's body, Miss Kelly's body, and the freezer out of the trailer with the skidster. Both bodies were placed in the freezer, ratcheted shut, placed in the hole, and buried. Before the burial, Cole Twombly arrived. Mr. Twombly put the men's clothing in the hole with the freezer, and he brought a hay bale to put on top of the disturbed ground. Mr. Grice said he put his pistol and holster into the hole. Mr. Grice testified. I'll say that again. Mr. Grice said he put his pistol and holster into the hole. Mr. Grice testified that Mr. Cullum filled the hole with dirt and concrete. During his testimony, Mr. Grice identified photos of the buried items. The photos of buried items included hats, gloves, shoes, jeans, a jacket, a hoodie, Mr. Grice's knife, and Mr. Grice's taser. Mr. Grice's pistol, belt, and holster were not included in the admitted exhibits, even though Mr. Grice claimed they were buried with other items. That's what I was saying. I did not see his gun was in that hole. It wasn't. Mr. Grice's testimony resumed the next day, December 18, 2024. He provided additional detail about his role in the death of Miss Butler and Miss Kelly. He first confessed to killing Miss Butler when he was taken to the Texas County Detention Center. Despite his confession to homicide, Mr. Grice was released from jail. Let's say that again. He first confessed to killing Miss Butler. Okay, who wrote this? We're going to go over it, but his meetings with OSBI was at Four Corners. Let me read this again. He first confessed to killing Miss Butler when he was taken to the Texas County Detention Center. Despite his confession to homicide, Mr. Grice was released from jail. Law enforcement interviewed Mr. Grice on April 23, 2024. Mr. Grice lied during the interview. He lied about details of the planning, crime, and his involvement. He denied involvement in Miss Kelly's death. After Mr. Grice bargained with the prosecutor to avoid the death penalty, he participated in a second interview. This is crazy. So they're going to try to say before the second interview, he made a plea bargain with Buddy Leach? Who wrote all this up? Okay, I'm just going to keep reading it. We'll go over it after we're done. After Mr. Grice bargained with the prosecutor to avoid the death penalty, he participated in a second interview on September 17, 2024. The reason he gave this interview was to avoid the death penalty. Mr. Grice admitted to stabbing Miss Kelly in the interview. During his testimony at the preliminary hearing, Mr. Grice admitted to lying during both interviews with law enforcement. His second interview was under oath, and Mr. Grice admitted to committing perjury. Mr. Grice invented new details, including that Mr. Cullum admitted to trying to break Miss Kelly's neck. Mr. Beasley owns the property where Miss Adams orchestrated burying the bodies of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Now, let me remind you, this is Tad Cullum's attorney that wrote all this. So you're not going to find anything bad about Tad in here. It's going to be about everybody else. We're playing the blame game. It's the blame game. Paul Grice, Tiffany Adams, Court Twombly, they're to blame, not me. Okay, here we go. Mr. Beasley owns the property where Miss Adams orchestrated burying the bodies of Veronica Butler, Jillian Kelly. And he testified to his observations. Mr. Beasley has known Mr. Cullum since they were children. Mr. Beasley leased Mr. Cullum grazing rights to his property. On March 29, 2024, Mr. Beasley met with Mr. Cullum and Miss Adams. Mr. Cullum offered to cut down a tree and take dead trees off the property. Mr. Beasley had a refrigerator sitting by the door, and he asked Mr. Cullum to move it across the driveway. Mr. Cullum told Mr. Beasley he would dig a hole and bury the fridge. Miss Adams and Mr. Cullum started doing the work about an hour or two later. Okay, maybe I just had so much going on then, but is this the first we're hearing of Mr. Beasley having a fridge and that's why the hole was dug? Let me read that again. Mr. Cullum told Mr. Beasley he would dig a hole and bury the fridge. Miss Adams and Mr. Cullum started doing the work about an hour or two later. Mr. Beasley observed Mr. Cullum's skidster and equipment for work. Their agreement included Mr. Cullum burying chunks of concrete from a barn's foundation. Mr. Cullum left the skidster on the property overnight in a corral. Mr. Beasley never observed Mr. Cullum digging a hole on his property. I thought you just said that Cullum was digging a hole for a refrigerator that Beasley wanted thrown in there. Mr. Beasley never observed Mr. Cullum digging a hole on his property. The next morning, the trailer and skidster were gone. Now, we're at Witness Officer Brian Xenia. Mr. Xenia, an employee with the OSBI, and he was assigned to process evidence from the crime scene. He located a hammerhead, a knife handle, and duct tape. He removed all the items from the hole at the burial site, including clothing items, the freezer, and the remains. Mr. Xena took DNA samples from Veronica Butler, Jillian Kelly, Tiffany Adams, Cole Twombly, Tad Cullum, Cora Twombly, and Paul Grice. Now we're at Officer Jason Ott. Mr. Ott is employed with the OSBI, and he collected DNA buccal swab samples for all defendants. Now we're at Trevor Ridgway. Mr. Ridgway is employed with the OSBI, and he investigated the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Mr. Ridgway viewed the incinerator where Cora Twombly and Cole Twombly destroyed evidence. He located 2 flip plums, a bag of kitty litter, and a claw hammer. Mr. Ridgway confirmed Tiffany Adams purchased one of the phones. He reviewed the medical examiner's report. He learned Miss Kelly's death was caused by a knife wound that severed her spinal cord, and she died instantly. And some DNA evidence was lost because the bodies were moved from the crime scene and buried for a couple of weeks. The lab result confirmed the presence of blood on the hammerhead. Mr. Leach never spoke with or interviewed Mr. Cullum. Legal argument and authority. Pursuant to the 22 OS, a motion to quash for insufficient evidence is proper. Cora Twombly and Paul Grice's testimony is not credible, is self-serving, and is made as a part of life-saving plea deals. The analysis of what weight, if any, should be given to their testimony is the key, because evidence that is not credible nor reliable is insufficient. When interviewed, both Ms. Twombly and Mr. Grice untruthfully deflected responsibility to Mr. Cullum, instead of taking responsibility for the entirety of their own actions in planning and executing Veronica Butler and Tiffany Kelly. Okay, really? These people are stupid. Okay, this is what it says. It does say it. They don't say Jillian Kelly. It says Tiffany Kelly. God, for fuck's sake. He pays this attorney all this money and they can't get it right? I'm going to read that to you one more time. And it don't say Mr. Cullum. It says Mr. Callum, Callum, instead of taking responsibility for the entirety of their own actions in planning and executing Veronica Butler and Tiffany Kelly. Jillian Kelly is what it should say. In addition, Mr. Grice acknowledges that Mr. Callum, which should be Cullum, was under duress when Mr. Grice held Mr. Cullum under gunpoint while directing the burial of the women's remains and destruction of evidence. Number 1, the evidence at the preliminary hearing is insufficient to support counts 1 through 3 because the testimony of Cora Twombly and Paul Grice is unreliable and self-serving. Ms. Twombly's testimony is not credible because she exchanged a plea bargain with the prosecution to have a significantly different outcome in her case. Ms. Twombly had the opportunity to reconcile her own prior inconsistent statements through review of the co-defendant's statements, her own statements, and all police reports documenting the investigation. Not only did she have a chance to prepare her stories for a preliminary hearing, but she even was enabled to modify her version of events to align with Paul Grice's interview because she had access to his interview. The pressure to testify in a way that gets a result she believes the prosecution wants, a conviction and a death sentence, is extreme in this case because Ms. Twombly's life was at stake. Her testimony is contaminated because she viewed substantial evidence and materials in advance of her testimony. This preparation causes her manufactured and curated versions of events to have no indica of reliability and entirely fail any test for credibility. The transcripts Ms. Twombly reviewed include her interview with OSBI on October 15, 2024. This interview occurred 7 months after the prosecution filed the information against Ms. Twombly. At the time of the interview, Ms. Twombly knew the prosecution would file a bill of particulars and seek the death penalty if she chose not to cooperate. For the sole purpose of preserving her life, she permitted OSBI to interview her. At the beginning of the interview, Ms. Twombly was placed under oath. Her later preliminary hearing testimony partially aligns with her OSBI interview, undoubtedly, because she was able to view the interview before her testimony. her ability to prepare and reconcile her statements is apparent when compared to Mr. Grice. He did not watch the video or read the transcripts of his prior interviews and the consistency details from interview to the preliminary hearing are apparent. This contrast is unsurprising because Ms. Twombly had the opportunity to review the transcripts and the video. Ms. Twombly is clearly motivated to characterize events in a way that is beneficial to herself. At Ms. Twombly's OSBI interviews, she recognized Ms. Adams' involvement and gave significantly more detail about Ms. Adams' state of mind. She explained Ms. Adams has a temper and is hot-headed. Ms. Adams was frustrated, hostile, and aggressive. Ms. Twombly explained to OSBI that Ms. Adams was willing to do whatever it takes to protect the kids. So too here. Ms. Twombly is willing to say whatever she thinks the prosecution and OSBI want her to say to avoid the death penalty. Okay. The testimony of Paul Grice is equally contaminated and unreliable. OSBI interviewed Mr. Grice, and he did not take the responsibility for the deaths of Veronica Butler and Tiffany Kelly. I'll read that again. The testimony of Paul Grice is equally contaminated and unreliable. OSBI interviewed Mr. Grice, and he did not take responsibility for the deaths of Veronica Butler and Tiffany. And it says Tiffany Kelly, not Jillian Kelly. They got Tiffany Kelly on here. Lordy mercy. He portrayed himself as a hero, saving children, and described Miss Butler as smelling evil. He refused to admit that he killed Miss Kelly. Prosecution then filed the information, and Mr. Grice knew the prosecution would file a bill of particulars seeking the death penalty if he refused to cooperate. Mr. Grice's tune changed when he learned he could face the death penalty, and he asked for a second interview with OSBI. At the second interview, Mr. Grice admitted to killing Miss Butler and stabbing Miss Kelly. He tased Miss Butler, hit her with a hammer, chased her, tackled her, and ultimately stabbed her 30 times with a knife. He stabbed Miss Kelly multiple times in the trailer until he was satisfied she no longer lived. Mr. Grice acknowledged Miss Adams was the architect of the plan. In the second interview, he described her as controlling his actions. Mr. Grice and Miss Adams went to Hugoton almost every day for the entire month of March to follow Miss Butler. I didn't know that. Let me read that again. Mr. Grice and Miss Adams went to Hugoton almost every day for the entire month of March to follow Miss Butler and watch her at her house and to learn Miss Butler's pattern of movement. Miss Adams planned the location, coordinated using the burner phones, provided stun guns, found the trailer, which was hers, chose the pickup to pull the trailer, and gathered people to help her achieve her goal. Mr. Grice and Miss Adams planned to tell Miss Butler the kids had a calf in the trailer to show her, luring Miss Butler to death. Mr. Grice characterized Miss Adams as manipulating him through his past and use of biblical stories. At the second interview, he implied Miss Adams placed an evil or demonic compulsion on him and forced him to do the act. At the interview, Mr. Grice discussed Mr. Cullum's purported duties and role. He said that Mr. Cullum used his skidster to dig the hole where they placed the bodies. Mr. Grice told OSBI Mr. Cullum put concrete in the hole and buried the freezer. But he also said he didn't see what Mr. Cullum did at Mr. Beasley's property. Mr. Grice admitted to drawing his pistol at Mr. Cullum, but he minimized the circumstances at this interview. He told OSBI he drew his gun because he didn't know who was coming in the trailer, and he almost shot Mr. Cullum. This story contrasts to his testimony at the preliminary hearing, where he explained he held Mr. Cullum at gunpoint because he thought the group was setting him up to take the fall for the deaths. At the interview, Mr. Grice told OSBI that he put his bloody clothes into the hole with the freezer but kept his gun. He tried to deflect more attention and blame towards Mr. Cullum when he implied to OSBI that Mr. Cullum had killed people before and told OSBI he believed Mr. Cullum was a regular drug user. Wow. Despite claiming to cooperate with OSBI, he continued to minimize his involvement and was dishonest about his role in the death of Tiffany Kelly, which would be Jillian Kelly, perhaps to assuage his conscience. You know what? I'm going to send an email to his attorney. They've got to get the name right. Her name is Jillian Kelly. It's not Tiffany Kelly. That's ridiculous. Perhaps to assume his conscience, Mr. Grice manufactured a story to protect himself. He claimed he could not know if he killed Miss Kelly when he stabbed her 16 times. He lied to his friends about his reason for stabbing Miss Kelly. Mr. Grice told Miss Adams and Mr. Cullum that he stabbed Miss Kelly because she woke up and tried to take his gun. When Mr. Grice testified, he said the story was untrue, and he made it up on the drive. He created this tale after stabbing Miss Kelly to see how Miss Adams and Mr. Cullum would react. Mr. Grice believed that he did not kill Miss Kelly is an incredulous as his story that he came up with strategic method of testing his friend's loyalty moments after stabbing Miss Kelly 16 times. The truth is, Mr. Grice killed Miss Kelly, felt guilty about killing an innocent bystander, and manufactured a lie he could use to avoid shame and responsibility for his actions. Mr. Grice's only consistent trait is his lies. He admits to lying to OSBI. He admits to committing perjury. He lies on at the preliminary hearing. The purpose of his testimony is for the sole purpose of avoiding the death penalty. His actions and testimony is to save his own skin. The testimony of Miss Twombly and Mr. Grice is insufficient to support a bindover. Testimony of an appliance is itself insufficient. A conviction cannot be had upon the testimony of an accomplice unless he be corroborated by such other evidence as tends to connect the defendant with the commissions of the offense, and the corroboration is not sufficient if it is merely show the commission of the offense or the circumstances thereof. Twombly and Mr. Grice alleged that Mr. Cullum was involved in the planning of the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Oh, they finally put Jillian Kelly in there. Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Yet neither of them saw Mr. Cullum harm either woman. At most, they claim Mr. Cullum was involved in the planning stages, moving the bodies and burying the remains. Mr. Beasley did not provide any collaborating testimony or observations of the deaths of the two women. Now, we all know that Mr. Beasley has now passed of health reasons, so he's not even alive to be able to come testify in these trials. Here we go. His testimony only described his observation at his property, not collaborating. Any evidence exists to connect Mr. Cullum as an actor causing the death of either woman with malice or afterthought. The testimony at preliminary hearing is insufficient because the testimony must be corroborated as to the particular defendant. And then it quotes Kennedy versus State. In addition, there must be evidence in which of itself and without aid from the accomplice's testimony tends to connect the defendant with the offense committed. And then there's Kennedy versus State. That's a case that they're referring to. The charges of murder in the first degree and conspiracy are insufficient because there is no corroboration. The credibility of co-defendants is key to the sufficiency of evidence analysis. Death penalty cases present well-established precedent that require courts to scrutinize the testimony of co-defendants who inculpate others to preserve their own life. This issue is not new to Oklahoma. This year, the United States Supreme Court overturned the death sentence and conviction of Richard Glossop. Mr. Glossop was erroneously convicted when his co-defendant minimized his own involvement and redirected blame to Mr. Glossop. The co-defendant, Justin Sneed, only avoided the death penalty because he entered an agreement with the prosecution to testify. Mr. Sneed admitted to beating the victim to death. So too here. Mr. Grice admitted to stabbing both Miss Butler and Miss Kelly. Mr. Grice's testimony and actions align with Mr. Sneed, and Mr. Grice placed blame on others to avoid the death penalty. Miss Twombly also admitted to working with Miss Adams to plan the deaths of Miss Butler and Miss Kelly. Miss Adams, Miss Twombly, and Mr. Grice created plan happened. The women died. Yet Miss Twombly managed to avoid the death penalty when she chose to cooperate and speak with the OSBI. In the Glossop case, Mr. Sneed also avoided the death penalty after planning and killing another person. The Supreme Court vacated Mr. Glossop's conviction because the co-defendant later recanted. and the prosecution did not comply with its obligation to correct the false testimony. Here, the prosecution, Mr. Grice and Ms. Twombly, disclosed the agreement, but the parallels in the gloss-up in this matter cannot be ignored. In 2021, Governor Kevin Stitt commuted Julius Jones' death sentence following the Oklahoma pardon and the parole board's recommendation for commutation. Mr. Jones' conviction rested heavily on the testimony of his co-defendant, Christopher Jordan Bush Estate. Mr. Jordan entered a plea agreement to avoid the death penalty in exchange for his testimony inculpating Julius Jones. The Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals denied Mr. Jones' claim for the insufficient evidence, but the nation state pardon and parole board and Governor Stitt doubted the integrity of Mr. Jones' conviction. Anytime a person incapacitates another to avoid the death penalty, they are inherently biased and unreliable. Mr. Grice and Ms. Twombly's testimony in akin to Mr. Jordan's testimony directing blame at Julius Jones. Their listen, she's making noise, okay?
Sorry.
Their testimony does not present sufficient evidence for this case to proceed because the testimony has no value. The opportunity to avoid the death penalty through deals with the prosecutor is like no other. The agreement is coercive per se and immediately puts any following testimony in doubt. Close scrutiny of co-defendant testimony is critical in cases where the prosecution voices intent to file a bill of particulars because all too often innocent people are, there's 22 pages. That's what's taking so long. And she's not being rolled out. I'm hanging shit on her. Innocent people are convicted and sentenced to death solely because a co-defendant blames another to avoid punishment. The evidence at the preliminary hearing is insufficient to support counts 4 through 7 because Mr. Cullum was under duress. Evidence is sufficient when a defendant actions or as a result of duress. A person is entitled to assert duress as a defense if that person committed a prohibited act or omission because of reasonable belief that there was immediate danger of death or great bodily harm from another upon oneself, one's spouse, or one's child. Duress is not a defense to first-degree murder. Yet, duress is a defense to counts 4 through 7. Mr. Grice testified he held Mr. Cullum at gunpoint when Mr. Cullum opened the door to the trailer. Immediately after Mr. Grice stated the two men transported the women's remains and buried them into a freezer. Mr. Cullum did not have an opportunity to escape, and Mr. Grice did not indicate Mr. Cullum was armed when he was held at gunpoint. Mr. Grice acknowledged. Mr. Cullum froze and was silent because he was afraid. No scenario is more definitive of duress than a person held at gunpoint and forced to act. So now, Tad's attorney is trying to say that Paul Grice had held Tad Cullum at gunpoint to make him run the skid steer and bury the hole and put the women in the freezer. Conclusion, here we go. Dismissal of this matter is appropriate pursuant to 22 OS 504.1 because the co-defendant's biased testimony was not corroborated. The prosecution relies on the testimony of unreliable witnesses who entered into agreement to avoid the death penalty and preserve their own lives. The testimony of Mr. Grice and Ms. Twombly has no value and results in insufficient evidence because their statements are induced through their agreements to avoid the death. In addition, the evidence is insufficient because the testimony supports Mr. Cullum was under duress and held at gunpoint when the remains were buried. Oklahoma case law and statutes support dismissal. Prayer for release. Wherefore, Defendant Tad Cullum respectfully requests this court grant this motion to quash, finding that the prosecution failed to provide sufficient evidence to support the counts listed in the information. Okay, that was it on that. Let me go back to you guys. Let me see here. How's everybody doing? Hopefully I still got you here. Also, I want to pull this one. We just did that. I'm going to pull all these. Hold on. I want to see what this one is. Then I'll catch up with chat. Okay. On November 4th, In the District Court of Texas County, State of Oklahoma versus Tad Cullum, defendant's motion for specific discovery. Let's see here. This one looks like 3 pages, so I'll read it pretty quick. This is prayer for release. Yep, here we go. Defendant's motion for specific discovery. Comes now the defendant, Tad Cullum, by and through his attorney of record, Joy Miskell, Kent Bridge, and Tamala Bridge, and moves the court to require the district attorney of Texas County, Oklahoma, on behalf of the plaintiff, the state of Oklahoma, or any assistant or other prosecuting attorney who may be involved in the above styled and numbered cause, as well as the case numbers, and it lays out the case numbers, to disclose and produce for copying all of the following information. 1. Pursuant to the Oklahoma Criminal Discovery Code, the defendant requests A. The names and addresses of all witnesses that the state intends to call at trial, along with their written and recorded statements or significant summaries of the oral statements. B. Law enforcement reports made in connection with this case, as well as all body camera footage and dash camera footage from all law enforcement agencies. C. Any and all written or recorded statements made by the defendant and the substance of any oral statement that defendant made, as well as any written or recorded statements of Cora Twombly, Tiffany Adams, and Paul Grice. D. The reports or statements made by any experts in connection with this case, including physical or mental examinations and scientific tests or experiments and comparisons. E. Any books, papers, documents, photographs, or tangible objects, buildings, places were obtained by the defendant. F. The record of any past criminal convictions of the defendant and any witness in this matter. G. OSBI rap sheet records, check of witnesses to the state or the defendant intends to call to trial. H. All phone recordings, non-privileged, of co-defendants who are testifying for the state or entered in a plea of guilty in this case and associated cases. I. All DHS records from Oklahoma and Kansas. Oh, yeah, get them records. I know what she's doing. I. All DHS records from Oklahoma and Kansas that related to the minor children in this case. But they're sealed. How are they going to get the DHS reports if they're sealed? Interesting. J. All witnesses who are on the Brady violation list. Oh, that's a big one. Brady Giglio. We've talked that. Bet you Kevin McIntyre is right on that list. All witnesses who are on the Brady violation list and reasons why they are on the list. Listen, folks, I talked about Brady Giglio a long time ago, and we went through every bit of it. And this is the first I've seen in any of their paperwork about the Brady. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I knew it's going to go there. Okay, anyway, not tooting my own horn, but let's go. Furthermore, pursuant to the code, the defendant requests the disclosure of any evidence favorable to the defendant with regards to guilt or punishment. Number 2, any and all prior convictions, criminal convictions of persons the state of Oklahoma as a plaintiff intends to call as witnesses in the trial of the above styled and numbered case. 3, all information or material in prosecutor's possession or control that which could be acquired by due diligence by the prosecutor that would tend to negate the guilt of the accused, or which would tend to reduce the punishment of the accused should the accused be convicted. Then they brought up Brady versus Maryland. We might want to go over that case. That's where you get the Brady Giglio, is the Brady versus Maryland. United States versus Algars and Allen versus District Court, Washington County. Now we're at number 4. An opportunity to inspect, review, and or copy all evidentiary hearing material and real evidence, including copies of fingerprints, instruments, clothing, or any paraphernalia relating to the charge filed against this defendant, Lambert versus State. 5, an opportunity to inspect and to obtain copies of any and all photographs made at or near the scene of the alleged crime by any photographer. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Derek, are you paying attention? Because you're on a live saying that you and Norm got crime scene photos. Let me read this to you again. Number 5, an opportunity to inspect and to obtain copies of any and all photographs made at or near the scene of the alleged crime by any photographer or police officer, highway patrolman, district or assistant district attorney, or any other person acting under the supervision and control of the plaintiff and for its benefit. Number 6, copies of any and all sworn statements obtained from perpetrated witnesses to the alleged crime which has been charged against the defendant. Number 7, all statements made by the defendant by and co-defendants, Paul Grice, Tiffany Adams, and Cord Twombly, to the district attorney, his assistants, and agents or police officers that pertain to this case. This includes, but is not limited to, the following: all oral statements made by the defendant prior to trial, of which the state and its agents and employees have acknowledged. Any signed confessions and written statements made by this defendant. Any recorded statements made by the defendant. An opportunity to inspect and obtain copies of any audio, video recorded statements or conversations between the defendant and any law enforcement agents, police, confidential informant, or any person. An opportunity to inspect and obtain copies of all prosecution exhibits that are to be introduced at trial, including but not limited to photographs and confessions. All prior felony convictions of the defendant. An opportunity to inspect, review, and obtain samples and copies of reports, records, and or other evidential materials, which is the basis for an opinion of a state's expert witness. All exculpatory evidence in the form of inconsistent statements made by the state's witness, including but not limited to the contradictory or inconsistent statements made by the witnesses, police officers, and the defendant. Endorsement of names and addresses of all witnesses together with their relevant oral, written, and recorded statements or summaries of the same. The name, social security number, address, telephone number, NCIC, OSBI, FBI rap sheet, records check, and any confidential informants used by law enforcement agents or police in the investigation or as a witness to the alleged crime which has been charged against the defendant. Notice of other crimes, testify witnesses, and evidence admissible against this defendant under Oklahoma Stat 12-240-04, Burks versus State. Reports and statements from all and any expert witnesses and or technical investigators the plaintiff intends to call at trial, including results of physical and mental examinations and of scientific tests, experiments, and comparisons. An opportunity to inspect and obtain copies of all records, reports, and photographs reflecting the manner and the mode in which the state conducted any and all pretrial identification proceedings. The request includes, but not limited to, any live lineups, any photographic lineups, and any proceedings or investigation during which a state's witness was given the opportunity to view the accused or a photograph of the accused for the purpose or with the result of making an identification of a suspect. All agreements between the state and any of its witnesses reflecting said witnesses obtaining special or lenient treatment in pending or potential criminal cases exchanged for their testimony. All agreements between the state and any confidential informants reflecting said confidential informants obtaining special and lenient treatment in pending or potential criminal cases in exchange for their assistance or testimony. Any books, papers, documentations, photographs, tangible objects, buildings, or places which the prosecuting attorneys intend to use in the hearing or trial or which were obtained from or belong to the defendant. OSBI record checks on any witness listed by the state or the defense as a possible witness who testify at trial. The names, address, telephone numbers of all persons interviewed by the district attorney, assistant district attorney, investigator, detectives, police officer, or other acting under the supervision and control of the plaintiff or for its belief in connection with this case or defendant. A list of names and address of anyone who might have favorable testimony on behalf of the defendant. All signed or oral statements by witnesses who have acknowledged the facts. Such obligation to disclose such information be extended to the materials and information in possession or control of members of the prosecutorial staff and to those law enforcement agencies who regularly report to the prosecutor or who have reported in reference to the particular case, and that this duty is continued until the close of this trial. Wherefore, the defense prays that this court grant this motion for discovery and further order the state to produce the requested discovery or otherwise respond to this motion. And that was it on that. Let's make sure that we've got everything that we wanted to get. You guys still here? Are you guys still here? Hopefully the internet's still working. Can you guys hear me? I hope so. I'm just going to say you can. Okay, let's see here. And we already did. Let me see this one. Motion. Yes, you can hear me. Thank you. I'm running off my hotspot. In this RV park, we've got internet, but it sucks. Okay, just one more form that was filed yesterday. In the District Court of Texas County, State of Oklahoma, plaintiff Tad Burke against Tad Burke, notice of hearing on defendant's Column's motion to quash. Now on this 5th day of November 2025, there has been filed in this court defendant's Column's motion to quash. It is therefore ordered that a hearing on defendant Column's motion to quash is set for hearing before the Honorable Judge John Parsley on January 23rd, 2026 at 10 a.m. in Texas County. It is so ordered. And then the judge signed it. And that's everything that was filed. Okay, now I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up, and then we're going to discuss it, and I'm going to go through chat. So. And again, I feel like we need to go over it tonight too, so that everybody gets to see it. Okay, there is the link. Let me catch up. Oh, I hope I don't miss anybody. If I do, please let me know. Yes, okay, here we go. I think I'm close. Drank a whiskey, shot of whiskey, it'll clear it. Okay, and then Schmoe seems like, let's see here. Let me see what you said. Schmoe seems like he has a jolt of importance from CrimeCon. It's not working for him. I don't know what he was like before, but he's boring. Yeah, I think he's boring too. But hey, I say this to everybody. You know, great, he has a channel. Great, he has followers. And if we don't like him, we just don't go to his channel. But I'd be damned if I'm going to sit back and let him talk shit on me and not stand up. He's not going to talk shit on me and me not stand up. Because I won't allow it. Okay, CrimeCon isn't for me after watching it. Absolutely. Seems like a lot happened at CrimeCon. Next year it's in Vegas. Colorado hosted this year in Denver. Yep. Overcharged her. Talking about Casey Anthony. Hawkeye says he was in the planning and present and drove them to their fate. Sick. Yeah, I agree. Talk about Colin. Girly Girl's here. Good afternoon, rockin' everyone. Good to see you. Girly Girl Christopher says, before he was the planning party, his ideas to do this. Sorry, listen. I love her, but she's bound to make. Go run out around the block. Go run the block.
It was full.
It's okay. It'll shut off.
Okay. I was done with it before it jumped out.
Okay. Tiffany equals Granny. Rock named her. That's right. Scary people I call to arms. The police too. Yikes. Yeah, absolutely. And Wrangler told me that. He said he went to get his kids. He said that Kevin McIntyre was there. And he didn't get his kids and he had custody of them. His mom wouldn't let him have it. But there was a Boise City police officer. This Wrangler told me that Kevin McIntyre was there. But according to the paperwork, it's saying that there was the sheriff there and a city police officer there when Wrangler went to get his kids. Okay. Hey, Jeffrey, good to see you. Give them all the chair. I agree. They're all guilty. They all should go down. But let's not overcharge them where they walk like Casey Anthony. Okay? That is scary. Hold on. I got to plug in my computer. Somehow it got unplugged. I just saw the battery come up. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Give them all the chair. Actually, I feel like there's other people that should be being tried too. They knew. Listen, it was only a couple days, and we were hearing from other farmers and shit what happened, and Listen, this was planned. Other people knew. I will always believe that. Christopher says nobody read anything just to tell new lies to look innocent. That's why Tad continues to help hide bodies. Yep. Because Paul forced him with a gun. Hawkeye says, I'm listening, working on packaging for work. Okay. Christopher says that was when Granny gave Paul his payment for his help. Sexual favors paid to Paul. I don't know about that, but you've said that before. Exactly. He kept his gun to keep Tad working on burial. That's just, yeah. It's crazy. Yes, they are building case for conspiracy to frame Tad. Absolutely. They've been working on that a while. Journey's driving and listening. Christopher says we're the reason to hide fridge from Beasley. But see, none of this makes sense, Christopher, because this is the first I'm hearing that Beasley wanted a fridge buried. I had not heard that. It's crazy. Rhonda Webb says, hey, Rocket family, can't stay. I am working, but we'll catch you later. I love you all. We love you too. And we'll go live again. Like I said, I plan on going over the documents tonight. Hey, Rock and Chat, Beach Baby, good to see you. She's sick in the head. Yep. Christopher says they gave Tad a small dirt road of reasonable doubt. Yeah, they did. Isn't funny. Prayer for release. Yeah, that's what it said. Beach Baby says, agreed, Christopher. I wish StreamYard would get back to the way it was and I could see your usual handles on here, channel handles. This is crazy when it does it this way. Hey, all, jumping on here for a few, but rewatch later. Yeah, we're going to go live again later. I really, I came live to address Joe Schmoe. Tired of it. So, hope he sees it. I hope he straightens his shit out. They need camera footage of Paul's confession. Kevin McIntyre's a crook. Yeah. I mean, he was grand jury indicted for stealing. Then he faked a burglary. And then he lost that job and came to the Panhandle, got the same job. Makes no sense to me. Oh, you know him personally. Okay. I've not heard anything good about Kevin McIntyre at all. Could they not get any DNA off the deceased? Oh, I think they got tons of DNA. But nobody can point Tiffany and Tad at taking care of Jillian Kelly. That's the problem. Nope. Been silent for an hour. What? Who's been silent? Don't tell me I was muted. I'll quit. I will quit right now if I was silent. I'm just gonna tell you that. Beach Baby says, don't worry about me. That's you, Rock. Rhonda says, had some stress this morning. The ex tried to follow me, so I just went to my daughter's work and called the cops. Do you have a PFA on him, hopefully? Listen, I know you just got out of that dangerous situation. Keep your eyes alert. Keep your eyes alert. You're doing good. You got a new job, everything. Don't let him screw it up for you. And we want you here. We don't want him to unalive you either. Christopher says, a lot of made-up crap. Yeah. Hey, Black Opal, good to see you. All right. There we are. What do you guys think? I've still been looking at Julia Thrash's trying to find her longer report. I'm going to look one more time while we're here, but I have yet to see the long report that she said she was going to release at 4 yesterday. Julia Thatcher. I'm looking, guys, while you're here. Let's see here. Pet project. Let's see. Is there anything where she covered this? No. Game of the week. I don't think this. I'll play this one, but I think this is the same one we saw. I don't think it's any longer. I went to school with Jeff Hurden, the guy on this, the news anchor here. We went to a small town, but we went to high school together.
Jeff Herndon. Pleas entered, trial date set. Two of the men charged with murdering Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly in court today. Tad Cullum and Cole Twombly pleaded not guilty. KSN's Julia Thatcher, the only Wichita journalist in the courtroom today. She has reaction from family members. It's our top story.
Today's pleas ripped open wounds, leading to raw emotion in the courtroom. I talked to Veronica Butler's mom after court got out, and she said the best way for people to honor these two Christian women is to pray for those involved, for redemption, forgiveness, and salvation. This was probably one of the most emotional days I've seen in court, including from the suspects. The way the courtroom was set up, Cole and Cora Twombly were across the room, but staring directly at each other. When Cole came in and sat down, he locked eyes with Cora, and the two shared what appeared to be a secret smile. I could see Cora clasping her hands together under the desk. She also showed more emotion today when Cole was pleading, wiping tears away from her eyes, than when she testified and described the murders of Veronica and Jillian. I also talked to another family member of Veronica Butler's in court today. They said they are also trying to find forgiveness, not just for the 5 suspects, so that they themselves can also find peace. The biggest takeaways from today is that a trial date is now set for Tad Colum and Cole Twombly for mid to late 2026. Tiffany Adams already had a sentencing date set for January of next year. Another decision made by the judge, the attorneys for Tad, Cole, and Tiffany Adams can have access to all the phone calls and text messages from all of the suspects. The DA for Texas County, Oklahoma, said there's about $30,000 worth of calls that have been made. Also, property is
Pleaded not guilty. 2 of the
Christopher, you're on the panel. I was muted.
Yeah, I knew that. $30,000 worth of phone calls.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is the new that they can't overprice them so much anymore. Can you imagine what they get? Man.
That's
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of phone calls because it's like 10 cents a minute now in jail. They made it.
So Lavender sent me a message and a link showing me that these were filed, and I sent it to you. Was you able to look at all of them?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. There's a lot there. Let's put it that way. I haven't gone all the way through it yet, but I was working on it.
As soon as we went over the very first time, the preliminary hearing, you remember me saying, Tad's going to say that he didn't do any of this. He's going to try to get out of it. And that's what he's doing. But I didn't think it was going to go to the fact that he's going to say Grice had him at gunpoint and made him do this shit. Because Grice was busy with Veronica. He couldn't have been busy holding, Tad accountable at El Road. Are you there? Christopher? Are you there?
I'm here, I think. Did I lose my?
I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I must just lost the program.
I said, what did you think of that paperwork?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be this early, them bringing it up, but now they're trying to get everything released on Tad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not wanting any charges, so I say if they can get that done,
Well,
But yeah,
I will say 1,000 times over that the reason Casey Anthony walked is because they were trying to charge her with first-degree murder, and they didn't meet all the qualifications, according to the jury, for first-degree murder. So if that's the case with Tad, and they don't have all the evidence, maybe they should go with a different murder charge and not first degree. I don't know.
conspiracy charges where I believe he's guilty of, because he was in the planning.
Right.
And there's no way that Granny come up with the freezer, the digging the hole, all that. All that was him, you know. There's no way that she was that.
Now, what about when they say that when Paul Grice was interviewed, he was interviewed?
That's what I want to see, the body cam. Yeah, I want to see the body cam of that. I want to see there should be a body cam of the Four Corners interview. That's the one.
Yes.
That, well,
But he admitted to killing the women, and they couldn't get a warrant. But yeah, they should have body cam. But does OSBI wear body cam?
That would be.
I'm not sure OSBI wears body cam.
It may not. That may be a lost testimony, because then you'd know what he said and the reason he didn't get arrested. Had to be something more there, or something non-believable. They definitely wasn't believing his testimonies.
Well, you already know. We already know, because I have thrown a fit about this from day one. Texas County, their sheriff don't believe in them wearing body cam. Y'all have bought body cam for them, but they do not wear body cam in Texas County. Yep. I've always wondered why. Why do it protects the officers and the public, but they do not wear body cam? Okay, I just looked it up. I just looked it up for OSBI, and it says, yes, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, OSBI, does not currently have a statewide body camera policy. But other Oklahoma agencies like the Oklahoma Department of Corrections and the Oklahoma City Police Department are implementing body cameras. ODOC started a statewide rollout of body cameras for its correctional officers in October 2024 to improve safety and transparency, while OCPD officers have been using them for some time. So they're saying the OSBI does not wear a body cam.
Well, that would have been the one testimony that would have been real nice to see. Especially
now that they're causing discrepancies. But you also know, I do believe Tad's got a really good attorney, like a really, really good one. And with that being said, she's doing her job. This is her job.
Yeah.
I don't hate her for it. I like her for it, because she is doing her job.
Well, this is doing. Morning, they got him maybe charged with too much. You know.
Absolutely, we've seen it. O.J. Simpson, Casey Anthony, both of them walked.
Yep. Stuck them with a little lesser charge, they would have found them guilty for sure. Yeah, this is going to get really crazy now.
I believe so.
The he said, she said, and you know what the eye contact between Tad between
Cora and
her husband, Cora and Cole. You know what that was about? She's trying to get him that plea deal. That's what that is.
Or, every time they're in the courtroom together, and I like Julia Thatcher, don't get me wrong, but every time somebody's in that courtroom, they come off and say, oh, they stuck Cole and Cora across from each other. Oh, Cole's attorney was rubbing his head and running her fingers through his hair. Did that all really happen? I mean, did it?
I don't know. You can't really say that for sure.
Beach Baby says, yeah, Lori paying for it all. I'm telling you what, I've looked at Miss Squell, and she don't lose too many. So the DA better have their shit together in this case. Absolutely. Because I personally don't think that Tad should walk at all.
No, actually, I guarantee you he was way involved. I mean, how can you dig a hole how many hours before and not be guilty of everything,
Right. But it sounds like to me, he's trying to say he dug the hole to move the fridge that Beasley wanted in there, and that Tiffany and Paul Grice planned everything else. When they got there, Paul Grice held his gun to him, made him get in the skidster, made him fill up the hole, made him help load the freezer in the hole, a whole lot
Yeah.
of shit. And where
Yeah.
was Beasley's refrigerator that supposedly, where's that fridge at? Because it wasn't in the hole. It wasn't part
Right.
of the property in the hole. The freezer was, but that was different. Where's this fridge at?
Yeah, I didn't see anywhere where it was listed they had to move another fridge.
Uh-uh.
I didn't
Nope.
see any of that. So that could just be a throwed in, made up story there too. Trying to hook somebody that can't stand up for himself or even testify, because now we don't have Beasley to counteract any of it.
You know,
Okay.
this should really, people in that area, this should really outrage you. And
Yeah.
I'm saying that because body cams are very, very important. Every
Mhm.
case has them now. And for Texas County to own body cameras and not use them, that's a big deal too.
Yeah, it is.
It's a huge
Stupidity.
deal.
Stupidity. Of course, we know why. I mean, they just got
They got to be
indicted. for-
crooked. They just got to be crooked. Because if they weren't crooked, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't
Yeah.
care if they wore a body cam. It would protect them.
Yeah, they've been indicted for illegal traffic stops and everything else. So, but they don't want
Yes.
no record of what they're doing.
Yeah, Black Opal says, I think they call Miss Quill the appeal queen. Listen, she don't lose too many cases. So Buddy Leach and them better get their shit together and have their ducks in a row. Or is this part of the plan? They all know each other. Is this part of the
Yeah.
plan to get that off?
Here's the good buddy deal.
That's right.
Could be.
We've seen Good Buddy. Again, if
Mhm.
there's any creators still in the chat and you want to cover this case, it's a big case. It's very,
Yeah.
it's a good case. It's
Right
very,
now, it's,
very sad.
It's getting very fictional. That's the sad part. Now we don't really know what's true, what isn't true.
Well, it's really hard because everything's sealed.
Mhm.
Everything's been sealed, so we can't get it. We just got lucky because Veronica's mother filed a civil suit, and we was able. The preliminary statements that Paul and Cora gave ended up in the civil suit. That's where I pulled it from. I didn't pull it from this criminal suit. I pulled it from the civil suit.
So case, yeah. You know, yeah, here's where the lies start. And boy, Tiffany might have really saved herself.
Well, there was going to be no way for Tiffany to get out of this.
No, but same with Cole, or it shouldn't be, or Tad. I mean, it shouldn't be no way for him to get out. I mean, he was pre-planning all this from way too long. He was the one that secured the land, the barrier on, everything.
Yes.
Because without him, they definitely wouldn't have been there. So, I mean, he should be hooked, but boy, they've sure got a road of escapability set up for him right now. Can't even say that he did. I thought that didn't the DNA come back with Julian being him on her, and that's
they
they
said that.
didn't have any Paul on her or whatever.
Mhm.
That's what I
But
was
see,
thinking.
this is the deal. What kind of DNA was it? Because your skin sheds all the time.
Right.
That I know of. As far as I know, let me say that this way. As far as I know, they didn't say particulars on what that DNA is.
Right.
Is it blood? Is it skin cell? Is it saliva? We don't know.
That's true. Like I say, that come out when the autopsies come out, because it was saying that looked like Tad had done one and Paul had done the other. I remember that. Remember how did that say? It was on the original autopsy. I think it was. Been a while since I seen that paper.
Yeah, and if you remember, it's been over a year ago. But remember, prosecutors was saying Tiffany Adam told the investigators she was responsible for
Yeah.
Veronica and Julian's deaths. But so is the rest of these people.
Mhm. She's definitely, always say, got no way out of anything. It's like, why open your mouth? I mean, the smartest thing she ever did was keep everything closed. Then she'll
And-
have some.
Go ahead.
She'll probably have some way to file an appeal. You know, it won't be.
She already
Yeah.
she already did not guilty or no contest plea, so she's done. All she's going to get is sentencing. She don't
Right.
even. They didn't even make it in the deal where she has to testify. I think that's bullshit. How
Yeah.
come? How come Cora's testifying, but she can't testify against Cole, and Paul testified, but Tiffany got the death penalty removed
Without that.
and don't have to testify?
Mhm. Boy, that's crazy. It is crazy. They didn't at least say they got to be put on, and obviously not, because they got her scheduled for sentencing before any of it. She's gonna be done and out of the way.
Yeah, I wonder if they can change that now. I mean, the judge hasn't accepted the plea yet.
I would think so, but already got a sentencing hearing. He's obviously because the next
I
thing
mean,
you're gonna do.
after the sentencing hearing, they can't say, "Oh, well, we need you to testify now." But who signs a plea deal? This is what tells me that they all know each other, like we said all along, and they're just going to let her go off into the prison system and not testify with the rest of them. I think that's horrible.
Mhm.
I don't think it's fair to the families either.
Nope. Ah,
I'm telling you
man.
what, if Dad walks over injustice and they pull a Casey Anthony trying to charge him with first degree murder and it don't meet the statutes for first degree murder, this is going to be a horrible thing. And listen, I will get probably 50 emails telling me, Rock, you're just wanting them to walk. Bullshit. I wanted them all to get the death penalty, if you want to know the damn truth. I don't want
Yeah.
any of them to walk, but I am a realist. I'm a realist and I know what's going on here. My grandpa was a criminal defense attorney for over 40 years. I've seen people walk on lesser things.
Yep.
And Christopher, you know people walk on lesser things.
Yep. Like I say, it's definitely that road was set up, and he drove his car right down it. Man,
Absolutely.
they said they gave him everything. I mean, down to him even plotting with the gun thing.
Yeah, let me catch some comments real quick. Black Opal says Beasley didn't know they're taking advantage of the fact he's fast. Actually, you know, Paul Grice in his preliminary hearing, Black Opal, said that when they pulled in, Beasley pulled up in his truck and talked to him.
Yeah, like before
So
they
I'm
drove
not
him
so
up.
sure that Beasley didn't know. I don't know. But he's dead now. We'll never know. You're right on that. Absolutely. Hawkeye says, good thing though Beasley made his statements even in the documentary. They have all his testimony. But do they have all of his testimony? They just did a preliminary. In a trial, they go deeper. They just kind of surface in the preliminaries, they just surface the points of what they want to ask.
And Paul hit way too many openings for all of them. Or, you know, like I say, I should have.
You know as well as I do that a preliminary, they don't know everything that they know. That comes out during the trial. In a preliminary, they just want to pretty much know what they kind of got. Just a little taste is what they're giving us.
Exactly. Yeah, this is going to get wild. And
Yeah, so
already sentencing, and that's in January for her. So that means
yeah,
they got to
first
have
of January.
her PSI ordered and everything. Then, because that's what they got to have before they can do sentencing, pre-sentence investigation work. And
Yeah,
then
they're
she'll
pretty
be
much saying it's a done deal. You know, she's done.
That's what they're doing, is ordering PSI, and we're going to sentence her.
She's
Wow.
gonna go off to prison and watch her TV and have her commissary for the rest of her life. That's what's gonna happen with her.
Yeah. Wow.
She's already given up her property to her other two kids. Sold it for what was it, $10?
Right.
So Hawkeye says, good thing though Beasley made it so I said that one. Black Opal said Granny was the ringleader and Tad's her deputy. And then that's exactly right, Hawkeyes. And not so sure also that's the plan. It's been the plan all along. I agree. Beach Baby says he won't walk. Well, if they try to charge him with first degree murder and they don't meet every statute for that first degree murder, you'll have another Casey Anthony and OJ Simpson and he will walk. And he's got a damn good attorney.
You know,
That's the facts.
yeah, and I don't know what there is no life sentence on conspiracy. That's bad. Be where he would be the guiltiest.
That's right. That's
I
right.
don't know what.
And not having Tiffany testify is such
Exactly.
an injustice too.
Mhm.
A horrible injustice to have her on the stand with her hand rose, and the minute she lied, give her that freaking death penalty.
Mhm.
I about knocked my computer off this table. I hit the table.
I'm reading my book. I'm out of my skin.
She's tearing the house apart.
That's right. DA don't give a shit about fair. I agree. And I think he's lazy. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, says, remember the county we are dealing with. I agree. No body cams, no shit.
Yeah.
Let's finish playing this thing with Julia Thatcher real quick. Because remember, she said last night she had more information. And this one
Mhm.
seems to be a little longer than last night, even though I hit it and went backwards. But it's
Yeah.
only 2 minutes. Let's listen to it. Maybe 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Maybe she caught something we didn't.
Right.
Because she was in the courtroom. Let's see.
The men charged with murdering Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly in court today. Tad Cullum and Cole Twombly pleaded not guilty. KSN's Julia Thatcher, the only Wichita journalist in the courtroom today. She has reaction from family members. It's our top story.
Today's pleas ripped open wounds, leading to raw emotion in the courtroom. I talked to Veronica Butler's mom after court got out, and she said the best way for people to honor these two Christian women is to pray for those involved, for redemption, forgiveness, and salvation. This was probably one of the most emotional days I've seen in court, including from the suspects. The way the courtroom was set up, Cole and Cora Twombly were across the room, but staring directly at each other. When Cole came in and sat down, he locked eyes with Cora, and the two shared what appeared to be a secret smile. I could see Cora clasping her hands together under the desk. She also showed more emotion today when Cole was pleading, wiping tears away from her eyes, than when she testified and described the murders of Veronica and Jillian. I also talked to another family member of Veronica Butler's in court today. They said they are also trying to find forgiveness, not just for the 5 suspects, so that they themselves can also find peace. The biggest takeaways from today is that a trial date is now set for Tad Cullum and Cole Twombly for mid to late 2026. Tiffany Adams already had a sentencing date set for January of next year. Another decision made by the judge, the attorneys for Tad, Cole, and Tiffany Adams can have access to all the phone calls and text messages from all of the suspects. The DA for Texas County, Oklahoma, said there's about $30,000 worth of calls that have been made. Also, property is being released, including Jillian's wedding ring and Veronica's car. Emotions were high in the courtroom today. Family members of Veronica's who I spoke to said they're still not ready to talk. However, Veronica's mom said I could share with people. She said the best way, if you want to honor these two Christian women, is to pray for those involved, for redemption, forgiveness, and salvation. Here for you in Guyman, Oklahoma, Julia Thatcher, KSN News 3.
All right. So also the thing that I caught, listen, I pissed off a lot of people, and I know I did, when I said that the SA did happen. There's 3 cases through the DHS with Veronica's brother on SA. And it looks like Schmoe is trying to get all them pulled in because they're sealed. Because her brother was only, what, 10 to 13 years old.
I think it was no more than 14. I think it was 13.
I think it's
Yeah.
13. Yeah. So,
And then they skipped state, so they went to another state where they couldn't follow through with anything.
it's what it seems like. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Seems like that's what happened because there seemed to be 1 in Kansas and 2 in Oklahoma. And again, I hope they do pull it. I'll tell you right now, in the beginning of this, and I'm not trying to shame at all, but Veronica's mother did not want to be on camera at all. she would say she had a headache and didn't go to court because she didn't want to be seen on camera. And I think it relates to this essay because as a mom, she ain't did anything to help her youngest son either. But that's my opinion. I'm not going to go further on it. But
Right. Yeah, there was definitely grounds there.
absolutely.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
again, the aunt shared the one essay with everybody in Discord. We read it.
Like I say, everything even down to Paul conspiring with Granny and Tad not being there. Everything has been set up, and man, he's got a road right out of it if he play all the right cards. And obviously, he's gonna have some friends on the jury if nothing else.
You know, it would almost be beneficial. This is my opinion. If any of the families watching, this is just my opinion, okay? But it'd almost be beneficial to have. I know the other attorney's just doing this civil suit, but
Mhm.
if that attorney, which I don't know, I'm just gonna say because they didn't meet the timelines on the civil suit either. It's kind of weird, but maybe not go for first degree murder. Yes, that sounds good. But you listen, I cried over Casey Anthony. I really did. I couldn't believe she walked after dragging her dad and her mom through all that. Did you watch the Casey Anthony case at all?
No.
Oh,
No.
wow. Not chat. Did any of you watch the Casey Anthony case? I watched every bit of it. And when she walked, it was horrible. I felt like I was stabbed right in the heart. And I didn't know her. I didn't know her daughter that got killed, her baby. That was horrible. But you knew about O.J. Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. They tried to overcharge him. He walked.
Yeah.
Good attorneys. Listen, Christopher, you had some of the best attorneys from Wichita.
Yeah.
They are still attorneys, and they are the best.
I can say that's what that paperwork reminded me of. Reading it was stuff that Dan would do, and it just like, wow, what are you digging up that for? But back then, it's like, man, what's this got to do with my case? All of a sudden, he's getting things thrown out.
Attorneys can help. That's their job. Help
Yep.
Somebody accused walk. And listen, an attorney's job, even if Tad said, "Hey, I did this," the attorney cannot take that. She has to fight for him.
Right.
Even if she thinks he's guilty, even if he says he's guilty, she's supposed to get him out of it. That's her job.
Yep. What they can prove, not what they know, or what they think they know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is going to get interesting. I know that. I just
Yeah,
can't believe
sure.
the sentencing already set for her. That seems like really quick. Because I normally PSIs are at least 30 to 45 days or something. And that's, well, I guess that'd barely be what it is, too. About 45 days.
Absolutely.
And then they'll have her done. Yeah, I don't know. The good buddy deal's panning out right now for her.
It is, and we've talked about this all along, the good buddy deals. We still don't know what supposedly, and I do kind of remember it. Deb C says that we had a photo, somebody did, and it had Tad, Tiffany, and Buddy Leach in it.
Yes, I remember that exactly.
I don't know where that photo was from.
I don't either, but I remember that photo. I do remember that now.
Jason wants to know, why was Cora there since she pled? Maybe in case something was brought up in her testimony.
I have no idea why they would have that.
Paul. I didn't think they was going to be there. So Paul and Cora. Tiffany wasn't there. Why was Paul and Cora there? It wasn't a trial. So I don't know, Jason, to tell you the truth. I really don't know why Cora or Paul was there. Yes, Mama Lost Rhonda, we're glad you made it home safe. I'm sorry that your ex is going against the PFA and following. That's horrible. Be safe. We do care about you. Cross-examination. Yeah, but they wasn't doing examinations. They were just pleading guilty, not guilty, or no contest.
Unless they was there for rebuttal. The only thing I could think of.
But usually, listen, Oklahoma does it all strange. Okay, I've sat in many court cases. Okay. This was just a plea. Usually
Yeah.
they don't have testimony at a plea.
Right.
That's what the preliminary was for. So I agree with Jason. To be honest with you, I don't know why they were there. Maybe to intimidate Cole. I don't know. But Corey don't have to testify against Cole. Maybe to intimidate Paul, to where Paul will change his statement, say he lied again, since he's going to be locked away forever to help. That would be it. That's what I'm going to say. And this is just my own assumption. Okay. I might make an ass out of me and you, but so that Paul could hear, or they probably read the cachet order or the school court order. And he probably thought, oh, this guy's going to walk. He might go after my wife or something. I don't know. To scare Paul, and Paul's going to be locked away forever anyway.
Yeah.
But he would get the death penalty for perjuring himself. They've told him that.
Mm.
That's why he's testifying, so he didn't get the death penalty.
Yeah. I don't know. They're setting themselves up. There's a lot more to this case. Let's put it that way.
Well,
It didn't get easier.
I will say, I still think it's the buddy-buddy system all the way.
Yeah, I do too. Most definitely.
They're just trying to hide it from us. Trying to
Yeah.
hide that buddy-buddy system.
Well, remember he was talking about he was wanting to get retired. He's got to get this case over with before he can retire.
Right?
Man, that was so. You got to have her done by the end of the year. He's out there by the end of the year.
Yeah, you know, I know the Oklahomian's been digging into it, but I wish the Attorney General, but he won't. I wish he'd dig into the DA there. See exactly what that DA's got going on. I don't understand how he's still the DA. He was appointed by the governor because the other guy got sick. But there's not been an election for Buddy Leach.
Mm.
How is he the DA? He's never been elected. He was appointed, but then they have an election. They never did.
You know, I don't know what the actual law is on what a DA's got to be, because for a long time our DA wasn't voted on here. He was.
Well, if
they
it's
voted,
this,
you know?
if it's an off election, off years for the election, they can be appointed by the governor. But when it's the next election, they're supposed to run.
No, I'm saying for a long time in my county, the DA never did, and we had 8 or 10 different ones that would be in there during that time frame, and they never went up for vote. So I don't know that all counties vote DAs in. I don't know I know sheriff is a position and judges are, but I don't know the DA is definitely set up that way everywhere.
I think it's set up that way everywhere. I really do.
I don't think it is. I mean, I'm thinking there's places that, at least I'm just going off Barton County here. You know, we didn't, for a long time, it was never the DA elected.
Well, it says right here, in Oklahoma, a district attorney is elected by the voters in the district, not appointed. They hold office for a 4-year term beginning in January following the November election. And that's been 5 years ago that he was appointed by the governor because it was an off election year. But they still didn't have an election for that DA. They skipped it. We're 5 years into it. He's never been elected for it that I can find.
Should have been with this sheriff one then, shouldn't it?
And the sheriff one was last year. Nobody ran against the Texas County Sheriff.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
brags about that. Nobody wants to run against me. I'm going to be the sheriff forever. Nobody runs against me. And they definitely are elected officials. They serve a 4-year term. The office of district attorney is not appointed. It is filled through popular election. I'll look up Kansas too, just because we're here. But I'm pretty sure Kansas is the same way. I know it is. So how they got away with it? You got the buddy system in your area too. That's a small town.
I know that's what Barton County's known for.
Mhm.
One of those crooked counties in Kansas.
Yeah, it says in Kansas, district attorneys are elected in partisan elections for 4-year terms. But if a vacancy occurs, the governor appoints someone to fill the position until the next election. The appointed person is chosen from a list of candidates selected by a district convention. And then the governor appoints them. But they have to be in the next election. And they've just skipped it. Because nobody cared. Listen, it took something like this for people to open their eyes in that area and see how crooked their area is.
Our DA just got elected as a judge, and there wasn't nobody run on for the DA. They just promoted the next one below him.
You know, that's all politics. It's that way in Sedgwick County too. Usually when a judge is running, there's nobody running with against them.
Right.
They've already went to their political buddies. Okay, I'll tell you something even further. There's a guy who I really like. He's a Democrat though. Is Michael Hoster. I think he's a great guy. I ran his campaign for my grandpa. My grandpa asked me to. My grandpa my grandpa went and registered. Let's see here. My grandpa was registered Democrat. I got to get this right. Mike Holster was a Republican. My grandpa, and I've always been a registered Democrat, only because of my family, because of unions and stuff. Most unions are Democrat, okay? So I was always registered that, but I didn't always vote that way. Don't tell my family that, but I didn't. But my grandpa did. Anyway, he and I both went and changed our party just to help Mike Holster, and then once he was elected, moved our party back. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when they're on that list, they're on there for a reason. They've already talked to everybody, and they're getting that job. They're getting elected.
Right.
Probably 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
somebody
righty.
else
Well,
is in here. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Yes, Mama, we're glad you're safe. Everybody in here cares about you. We care about each other here. Okay, so, let me grab my glasses. Minotaur, how can these evil people try to get off for what they did? It's all the politics of the trials. It's the politics of the court system. Anyway, I feel so bad for the families, friends, and kids of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Yes, absolutely. I feel the same way. But they got to know what's going on and what can happen. The buddy system works. They still use the good old buddy system.
yep.
It's scary and it's sad. It's sad for the families because that's exactly what they're going for. They're going to try to get Paul to walk or Dad to walk.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
the reason Cole wanted his attorney didn't want it till 2027 because they want to see how Tad's trial goes.
Exactly. Could build off of that. I think that he's still praying for the deal to go through. Because he definitely signed that one that day, boy, and he was on it.
I think
He's still praying.
I think he thought he would still walk too. That he was just a lookout guy and he just put the clothes in the hole. I still think, honestly, my own opinion with Cole, I think they'll end up going with a lesser charge with him.
Yeah, just like Cora got.
Because I don't think, and I'm not a lawyer, this is just me telling you my opinion. I don't think with everything they got that he's going to make everything with the jury for first degree murder. I just don't.
No way with the charges that he's charged with.
Well, wait a minute. He's charged with first degree murder. I don't think they got the evidence to make that first degree murder charge go through a jury and then not. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
And I'm not a lawyer. I'll be the first to say that. I'm not a lawyer.
So
That's
that's
my own
probably
opinion.
why his attorney's fighting it, because they got him overcharged.
Yep.
You know?
But they're just not coming out and saying, well, he's going to walk because he's overcharged. They're probably hitting their table right now. Saying, I wish this rock bitch would shut the fuck up. What is she doing?
You know?
Tell her to shut up.
Yeah. They
She's
got the ground.
exposing our plan. She's exposing our plan. And I knew they'd bring in the Brady Giglio too.
Yeah.
And guess who else was on that Brady Giglio? The
Yeah,
sheriff.
We
The
take about
sheriff of
everything.
Texas County.
Right. Yeah.
He's on that list. So
They
is
don't have
Kevin
anybody-
McIntyre. No telling who else is on that list.
You know, they don't have any credible witnesses.
No. And there's been too many cases turned around You can go look at Mark Bennett in Wichita, Sedgwick County. He had to go through all of them. Brady Giglio was a big thing in Wichita, and many officers lost their jobs. Many of them got moved, like from the police department over to city works. Like it was a big shuffle on all of them. Big deal. Because if their integrity has been at all questions, that's how they hit the Brady Giglio list. That means their integrity is not good. You can't have them on the stand to testify because they don't have any integrity. There's many cases that they fall back on to prove that.
Yep.
I did lots of paperwork for my grandfather, filing stuff for people for the Brady Giglio. Otherwise, I wouldn't know a damn thing about it.
Right.
I saw he get off because of Brady Giglio, because the officer had a domestic violence case that it didn't get charged, but he got arrested for it. And that changed his integrity. And they had to go back and redo them cases, and many of them walked.
Well, it's only begun.
Yeah, it is.
That's for sure.
Well, I'm not going to
Yeah.
stay on here real long because I am going to, as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to make a live for tonight. I don't know.
Right.
I wonder what time do you think we should do the live? Same as we always do, like 7?
Yeah, something like that would probably work.
Because honestly, it's not fair to our family in the Rock Chalk community that's at work and don't have the privilege, of listening to daytime. Okay. A lot of them
Right.
work in the factories and stuff and can't have their phones. Yeah, Brady
Right.
Giglio. That's right. And Black Opal, I've been saying from the get-go about Brady Giglio. I've been on the Brady Giglio all the way from the beginning of this case. And people were pissed off that I even brought up Brady Giglio. I remember all the emails I got.
Yep.
Crazy. Well, I think we'll do it about 7. And listen, if you've already listened and you don't want to come chat, and honestly, my throat is itchy. I don't know if it's because, the weather's changing here in Oklahoma. And I'm not in the area where I'm usually at. So different things are probably affecting me here. Does that make sense? Like different crops and different things. Plus, we're parked right by a field and we got the windows open. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably go back to what I did today, where I just read them all to you, and replay that instead of trying to read them again, because it makes my
Right.
throat itch and I don't want to start coughing. But I'll be in the chat. I'll be here watching and be able to stop it or whatever, but replay everything I just listen. I'm not usually one that'll read court papers, but somebody's got to read them to us, right? I know I'm not good at it, but I do my best. But I don't want to have to do it again. I'll just replay what we did today.
Right.
But I think it's only fair with everybody that comes and it's part of the Rock Chalk community that we give them opportunity at 7 o'clock to be able to come in and also put their comments in the chat and how they feel. Because a lot of people take this case very serious, and they should. There's a lot going on in this case. A lot going on in this case.
Yeah.
And a lot could go real wrong. You think the Jesse Butler thing's way out of whack over here?
Happening every day.
Yeah. Just imagine on the other side of Oklahoma and this murder trials.
I get an alert every day.
Mhm.
Yep. Crazy.
It's a possibility. And I'm a realist. So I throw out there what could possibly happen. That don't mean I want it to happen. I'm just throwing out there what can possibly happen. And it pisses people off.
Yep.
A lot of people didn't know what Brady Giglio is. It's when you've gotten in trouble or even accused and you're in law enforcement, it makes it to where you're not credible to be a witness.
Yep. They definitely don't have any credible witnesses down there.
They don't. They don't. And listen, these families need justice. Jillian and Veronica need just. That's the other thing. Oh my gosh. Did you notice when you was reading the paperwork? Because I sent it to you. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
I sent it out to you because I knew you would have a hard time finding it and I wanted to make it big enough for you. I hadn't read it yet because I planned on reading it with everybody tonight. But then Jason came in and asked about it. I was like, oh, we'll go ahead and go through it. So I hadn't read it. But this call Jillian Kelly, Tiffany Kelly,
Yeah. I've
they
seen
need to
that.
fix that immediately.
There's a lot of mistakes.
Yes,
Of course,
there
you
was.
Is that what they read?
realize the same attorney asked for the judge to be removed, and he still ain't gave up on that. You know,
Yeah.
there's
Well,
still,
I have a different opinion. I still will say I think all of them should be moved to Oklahoma City, out of that county, because they
Mhm.
all know each other. I think they're getting preferential treatment at the jail. I can't prove it. I just think they are. There was a UPS guy that was taking packages to Tiffany all the time. When I called the jail, they said, "Oh, she can only get T-shirts and stuff." Well, I'm going to tell you, the stuff that was getting sent to the jail was not T-shirts.
Wow.
And if you remember, she had a cell phone in the jail.
Yeah.
And a person that was in jail with her had come into the chat, the mom of that person, and immediately got a phone call that night. They messaged me and said, "I can't help you no more. I can't follow this case no more." Her daughter got out of jail that night, and was told never to talk about this case again. Now, I haven't been able to verify that. That just came from the mom, and the daughter was in the background, and they were scared shitless, never wanted to talk about it again. Yes, Oklahoma has been corrupt since 1907. Listen, there's corruption everywhere, but I do believe that Oklahoma has got to be one of the most corrupt states I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So it's definitely crazy.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna take my little one out. She's about to bite my head off.
Absolutely. Well, try to come back at 7. We'll talk about this
I will.
again. I think it's only fair to the rest of the family here.
Yeah. I'll be here then.
All righty. And thank you. Black Opal says, remember that, Rock. Let's do a prayer. I love your prayers. Let's go.
Father God, we'd like to ask for you to come in and lay your hand on our family members. We've got some things going on in their lives that they're questioning, and they really need that reassurance that, Father God, you're really driving. And if they just turn it over to you, you drive them in the right direction. It's real hard for us to turn that control over, and we apologize, Father God, but we're going to work harder on that. And we thank you for everything you do, Father God. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Christopher. Hey, everybody. I'll see everybody at 7 o'clock tonight.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Much love, everybody. If you can, if you're available, please tune in at 7 o'clock. Tell us what you think. I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up and talk. We'll have it there. Again, some of us can tune in during the day. Let's make sure that we continue to do it for the whole Rock Talk family and do it tonight too. Okay? Much love. And I'm going to do a thumbnail and set up a live for 7 o'clock tonight. Yes, Black Opal, thanks for coming. Thanks all. Thanks for listening to my rant with this Joe Schmoe guy. We're not going to ever talk about him again. And just let it go. But I've said my piece on that too. I'll tell you guys, I will quit the internet before I start fighting with other creators. It is not going to happen. I got more things to do in my personal life than to mess with people on the damn internet. And these people on the internet absolutely take it real life. And I am not going to be there for that. So we'll just keep on the trucking, guys, and I'll see you at 7 o'clock tonight. Much love to everybody. If you're here at 7 o'clock, it'd be great. If you got things going on, that's okay too. Mama Lost Rounder, please be safe. I'll be thinking about you. You can reach me anytime. And we love you. And you're telling everybody love to all. We appreciate it. Much love, everybody.
Called on the neighbors, warned the town. The Rock Chalk crew is messing around. They're chasing justice sharp and bright. Welcome to the fam, keep your truth in sight. Deb C's got receipts from 1882. Hacked the database with a can of glue. Hawkeye sees your blade from another state. Still found time to bake a cake. Nota's running, not from crime. She just forgot the noodles this time. Micah singing ballads to his cat. Solved the case just like that. Black Opal, sneaky, mysterious style. Caught a lion through a bathroom tile. Christopher preaches and takes the stand. Turn water to coffee with just one hand. Mama lost us where the bones are hid. She just laughs and says, guess I'm part of the grid. Beach babies tanning with suspects in tow. Solves crime while surfing, justice on the go. We're rock, chalk, wild, weird and free. Breaking down lies, men waxing spree. Truth, drama, and twists for days. We solve cold cases in chaotic ways. Dance like a suspect caught on tape. family chaotix. Got rage and style, she filed an FOI right from the mile. Lavender sweet till the plot gets thick. She solved the riddle with a selfie stick. Gail's got gossip, it's top secret grade. She backed the case with a pink band-aid. Jeans speeding through charts and maps on display. Racing for truth, she's blazing the way. Ostrichen boots with an attitude, pecking the facts and serving the truth. Pete Young's composing the justice jam with a mic in one hand and a jar of jam. Jezebel's casting spells in court, summon a witness in unicorn shorts. Beautiful holidays just glowing bright. She don't argue, she sparkles you right. Leroy snoozing with a solve file stack. He solved 5 cases and still took a nap. American honey, sugar, sass, and sting made the perp confess with a mood ring. Tiny Tots rides in on a scooter of doom, throws glitter bombs right on target zoom. Girly girl's got a side eye that kills. She found the motive using puppy squeal skills. Rock Chalk Squad, we're a little crazy. We solve the puzzles and break the routine daily. We investigate, laugh, and keep spirits high. We're the funniest justice family, give us a try. Chaos, flair, witness law, we're Rock Chalk, stand back in awe.